goes out to my mother, Beverly K. Jacobs, and to the world. Let them know that we live by faith and not by sight.
The course of nature. Course of nature. Course. Let's go to 2 Peter and 1. Now we all know that Peter was one of the 12 disciples. We also understand that Peter definitely had a good understanding and knowledge of what Yah wanted going forward. And that's why he was elected and selected to be one of those that would start the beginning churches of Yahushua. Now we know in Yahushua that when he's talking about churches, the church is within us. We always hear that term that the church is within us, which it is. So we know that he's not referring to such a building or thing like that, because we know that those things we get confused with that everything that Yah was saying was symbolic. And we don't want to be of those who always believe that everything that Yah was speaking was symbolic, but much rather spiritual. Spiritual means that there is an essence behind what is being spoken, and there's a lifeline behind it. That's what spiritual means, that it has life behind it. Anything that is not spiritual, behind the scenes lies death. And that is the difference. One has life within it, one has death within it. So when you get caught up with the symbolic terms of things, you got to realize that the only thing you're conjuring up at that point is things of death. If you look at everything as just symbolic, then everything is dead. That is symbolic, because symbolic is nothing more but copies or models, toy models of the real thing. Yet we know that we are not going into a toy heaven, are we? Neither nor can we enter into a toy heaven. I know they got clowns that go inside of toy cars when you see at the circus and stuff like that. But no, in this one, we're going into a real place that has real features and real alive creatures and people. So we're not going into a place that's going to be a toy version of this or a toy version of that. Okay? So when you understand spiritual, you understand the very essence of life. That's what it is behind. That is the makeup behind everything that Yah speaks has life in it. Everything the devil speaks has a carbon copy of it, a 3D printer copy of it, and it's fake. It wouldn't by no means save you nor me, or anybody you tell it to. It ain't going to be helpful to them, because them same things are going to be conjured up in those last days to see if those things definitely do help, and they'll be found to be faulty equipment. Like, it didn't help me. So we're not of those who want to carry on in life with the symbolism and stop and miss the whole point of what the realism of it was. Okay? So let's go on 2 Peter 1. Let's start. So it says, Simon Peter, a servant and an apostle of Yahushua Mashiach, and to them that have obtained like precious faith with us through the righteousness of Yah and of our Savior Yahushua Mashiach. So to these, we grant you grace and peace, and let those grace and peace be multiplied unto you through the knowledge of Yah and of Yahushua, our Savior, Mashiach. So he said, for those that do understand, let your grace and peace be multiplied unto you through the knowledge. See, it's about being educated. If without this education, there is no grace given unto you, and there is no peace. If you don't know, you don't know. And it's the things you don't know. He said, my people are destroyed or die from a lack of knowledge. So those are the very reasons why you will fail if you don't have this knowledge. You don't have these understanding and these things going forward, okay? And these things ain't symbolic that you need to have it. No, it's definitely you need to have this in your core, okay? According 3, according as his divine power has given unto us all things. Now, we don't speak a lot about that divine power because people don't know what that divine power is. It's the word, it's in itself when it says the word divine. If I ask each one of y'all what divine means, could you give me not a symbolic, but a realism of what divine means?
Precious.
It'll definitely be precious, and that it will be tested, proven to be true. When anything, something that's precious or expensive, is proven to be true. That's what makes it expensive. Right? So yes, it definitely does that. But in something that is divine, it is something that it's no longer. It's a mind state. It's a state of mind. It's a state of being. It's a state of rest. When you become your divine self, you are as the appearance of an angel at that point. You are of the appearance of godliness at that point. When you reach that divineness, that's when you got that little halo around the head. Because normally when you think of those things, it is a level of perfection. When you reach your divine self, you become like a square, a divine square, even on all sides, tempered, gelled together, no holes, no cracks, no darkness to think of. A pure, how they used to call it in cartoons, they call it those things, the energon cubes and stuff like that. Things, just a cube that is full of light, full of it, full of that energy. That's your divine self, divine beings, tempered on all sides, no imbalances to whatsoever to think of. Not like the triangle, but definitely the square is what Yah is looking for. Because when you build a building, you don't use triangles to build a building, do you? You use what? Bricks. Bricks are normally what? Squared, aren't they? Stone. So even when you're building up, you build up with those pieces, squares, equal on all sides, tempered, perfect. What's on the right is on the left. Great balance. Strong within, strong without. Right? That's when you reach your divine self. A lot of people haven't reached that state, which we can obviously say. Right? But once you reach that divine state, yeah, you definitely hit all cylinders. So that's what the power that he's referring to is that divine power. When it's divine, you no longer are looking at man or woman to help you do what? Anything. See, when you reach your divine self, you begin to realize that all your energy and power is going to come from what? From Yah and from within. That's when you muster up that strength. That's that divine strength. That is that divine strength when somebody gets shot from a bullet or something and then get right back up. That's divine. For somebody that had lost all energy and all strength at the last minute to find that little strength to still get up, that's that divine power we're talking about. When everybody counted you out, when all was lost. That divine power is the same thing that brought Joseph out of the dungeon, did it? Brought him all the way to the ranks of a high rank, didn't it? That's divine. And that's what they seen him when they seen him. He was divine at that point. Like, wow, we really thought you was not going to come through this, and look at you. Not only did you come through, but you came through with flying colors. That's divine. Because what comes out of that pit will be divine. Because it took the pit to make you. And at that point, your divine self ain't even crawling out the pit at that point. You probably got angel wings flying out the pit. Upward. That's your divine self. That's that one when you thought that all was lost, everything's done. It's it. But whatever strength that you draw from at that point, from Yah, that's your divine self. Because no longer can no one do anything for you. Mom can't help you at this point. Dad can't help you at this point. My children can't help me at this point. The elders can't help me at this point. The government can't help me at this point. So where you draw that strength from, you're going to realize that that's divine. You hear me? It's fearless. So, according to this divine power, have given unto us all things that pertain unto life, godliness, through the knowledge of him that has called us to glory and virtue. Because we know Yah is divine. Self-sufficient is the divine you. Whereby are given unto us exceedingly great and precious promise through this divine power, that by these you might be partakers of the divine what? Nature. So that's what we want to talk about today, that divine nature. What's different? The courses of nature. You got two types. You have an animal nature and you have a divine nature. Right? And having escaped the corruption that is in the world through lust. So he's telling you right there what the beast nature is like.
Lustful.
It's very lustful. And when it says lustful, it's talking about in not just in a sexual way, but it's just talking about period. All it looks to do is to what? Lust. Let me give you some examples of a divine nature separate from a beastly-like nature, an animal nature. It's what do animals like to do? That's what it means. That's lust. It's all it desires to do to one another. You see how they had some of them shows when you were looking at somebody and then they kind of turn and your vision kind of blurred, they try to turn them to a piece of meat. Or for some, they turn into like a money bag or a money symbol. Right? That's what they're saying. That all you see them as. That's a beastly mentality. That's a beastly nature. Is when all you look at them as is a piece of meat or a piece of bread or just a dollar. That is a beast nature. I told y'all before that when y'all sinned from y'all was given animal skin. Listen, and for them reasons you was given animal skin, so the nature of the beast is already what? In you. Listen, you have that nature. That's why y'all said everyone had to be what? Born what? Again. Because by nature, nature says you already have that beast within all of us. And especially comes out when we get scared, doesn't it? When we get scared, then we don't care who we offend. We don't care who we take from. We don't care what door we kick in at those points. Same way an animal would be. See, these are the animalistic behaviors that you get your rapings and molestations, things like that out of. Because they no longer have a desire to be as a man or as a woman. They stoop beneath those levels of integrity and give in to the impulse of just being beastly. Some people want to live underground, we understand. And we understand why they want to live underground too. Because underground, they can do all those things that was unspeakable. See, in the presence of the dark, all those things are green light. How Kanye West said, no church in the wild, isn't it? We're just going to do our wildest behaviors. See, in those moments, you have to be careful of. Those impulses, you have to definitely steer clear of. That is what the Bible represented. You hear me? Yahushua represented the way out. What is salvation but being a man or a woman and maintaining that integrity and not stooping beneath that level? That is what he prescribed for us. He said if you wanted to make it, y'all couldn't be that very nature in which y'all became. That's why y'all had got the animal skin in the first place. So your first impulse is to do something animal-like. That's the first nature. But we had to be born again to the second nature, which is the spiritual nature. No longer looking down on earth and just becoming what they say you should become, but to looking upward and saying, but I know that there's something greater. And I know I wasn't just put here to be what? And to become what? Yeah. An animal, a beast, just giving in to just those impulses. So we have to be careful and we have to learn that that's what spiritualness means. It's a level above. We no longer think like the impulses of an animal would think. Because remember, what the animals want to do? All they care about is what? Eating. So that's all they, when they look at you, they're just all they want to do to you. It's just want to consume you. And this is forbidden. But that's the thing. A beast don't care. That's why I say if you got the marks of the beast, if you have these imprints on you, it's going to show. It's going to be telltale. These things you cannot get away from. You can't wipe it off, rub it off, cover it up. No, them impulses are still there because it's an inwardly thing, isn't it? Impulses come from within, so these things you can't hide. They'll show their face in due time. Watch. You know? So this is what we had to escape. He says, and escape this corruption, because that is a very corrupt, because Yah, when he put us here, according to Adam and Eve, that he did not want us to become as what? Animals and beasts, did he? Was that the goal? Not at all. But when they bowed to the snake, which was a beast, and listened to the fallen, then they will as well what? Fell. And became it too. But the goal was to get back to where you once were. Back to the state of mind you once were. That's why he told you to get all of that corruption, all those spots and blemishes out of yourself. Because you remember those things, I'm going to tell you now, those things do not rise. I'm telling you now. When Yah comes back, he's going to burn up the whole world and everything in it. Because everything that cannot leave Earth, and the reasons why it can't leave is because it's animalistic. Earth is the planet of, you say the planet of the apes, right? But no, it's just really the planet of animals. This is Animal Planet. Look at it for what it is. Animal Planet. Everything here walking and talking, if you ain't of a tree, then you of an animal. That's what it is. Think about it and look at yourself for what you truly are. Everything here. Though we call ourselves human, human doesn't mean nothing more but just one step above an animal, right? But the only way that one step above comes from a way of what? Thinking. That's it. That's it. But when we succumb to those understandings, then we become just like the ape. That's why they try to say back in the day that we came from apes. Remember that? Mm-hmm. That man came from apes. That's what they're trying to say you always once were, just an animal. Then now you got a little sense. But according to Yah, you was not created to be an animal. The animal skin you did take on yourself. That is true. But you were not created to be an animal. You was created to be of a higher understanding and of a higher learning and a higher teaching. You hear me? Of a higher education. But some of us have given to the narrative of just being that animal. I don't care. I just want to eat. That's what an animal thinks. Esau was that animal too. That's when he lived in the caves, like a caveman. They didn't take baths. That's what say the thing we would have to learn how to do. He said he was red and hairy, so that means he was just hairy all over before he learned how to shave. Stinking before he learned how to take a bath, before he learned how to do personal grooming, hygiene, things like of those sorts. So by nature, we was just like that. And you think those impulses are gone out of Esau? By no means. They still there. But the only thing, the reason why he acts civilized or so-called, only because he got you in captivity. But you want to see them come out the closet? Do you really want to see them come out the closet? But no, you will. I'm going to tell you the day you will see them come out the closet. The day that y'all save y'all. Because it's no longer needed to put on the charade of that they are civilized if y'all removes y'all from their presence. See, when y'all removes his elect, trust me, they go back to their natural state of mind. It's no more charades of, oh, we are civilized people. They only did to put the show on for you. But once you are gone, who they putting on the show for? Can they fool each other? Each other already know what you like. Nigga, get that. Man, I know what you can get on with that. You might well take that student tie off now, because yeah, I know who you is. See, them parents and children, they know who each other is, right? It's only around us that they got to fake, right? Raping each other, child molesting each other. That's what they do, like beasts, like animals. They call them monsters, don't they? That's their first nature. Yah was trying to remove you from that nature. That's why he called them heathens. To remove you from that nature. Because that is their nature. And their only goal is to try to get you to fall into that same nature too. So he says it like this. 5. And besides this, given all diligence. Diligence means do your what? Do your research. Do your homework. Study to show yourself approved. Seek Yah. That's what diligence means. Be diligent to seek Yah. With all your mind, what? Heart, body, and soul. At all times, seek Yah. And to add to your faith, see, that will be considered your faith. Add what? Virtue. See, virtue is bravery. See, bravery, it's going to be brave because it's going to be precious in order to stand amongst a bunch of heathens and animals, like a lion standing in a pack of hyenas. One lion, but it's a whole pack of hyenas. You know, hyenas are nasty. We know that, right? Those are the first original dogs anyway. They're from the dog family. They act just like dogs, don't they? Nasty dogs at that.
Did you say virtue?
Virtue is bravery. Because it takes a level of virtue to be able to stand amongst people and heathens that prefer you to be something else that you cannot be, and to resist the devil. Meaning to fight against. To not give in. And to that virtue, you will have to add what? Knowledge to your bravery. See? Because you ain't never going to get away from having to learn, be educated with Yah. See, for every time you obtain a level of faith, you have to guard that faith. That's where the virtue comes in at. Think about it. You get to first grade. Once you graduate to the first grade, you have to guard that first grade status, and that's where virtue comes in, to guard that first grade status from anything trying to make you go back to kindergarten. So now you got to go back. So you fight like, nah, I resisted that. I ain't going back to that level of ever again. I have graduated. I know my stuff, and so you guard what you know, right? And then so guess what? What he say? So add unto that first grade level what? Knowledge. Add to your virtue what?
Knowledge.
Because knowledge is second grade. Add unto the first grade what?
Knowledge.
So you can get to the what? Second grade. And now once you get to the second grade, add to that knowledge what? Temperance, because now you have to try it out. See, that's divineness. You got to try it out. You got to make sure that it is firm. This second grade teaching, what you get in this new teaching, you got to make sure this new teaching is just as firm as the first grade teachings, right? You got to make sure that it's doubly firm, right? Okay, this is truth too, but it's just a secondary knowledge of what? Truth. It's a higher degree of truth. I make sure that first grade level is firm with virtue, right? To guard it with bravery. And then I get more knowledge and this takes me to the second grade. But now before I can just guard it, I need to make sure it's what? It's true. Of course. So yeah, that's what temperance is. Test it out, right? Don't just take it for what? For granted. And don't take it for face value. And so now that you're dealing with that second grade knowledge, that temperance, you have to add what to the temperance? What does it say next? Patience. Because patience is now you have to do the will of it. Patience doesn't mean stand still and do nothing. Patience means just the same way as patience is the same thing as a waiter. A waiter and a restaurant or a waitress. They go serve the tables. They serve what they have learned through that knowledge. They make sure they're doing what they're supposed to do with that knowledge. Right? That's patience. Because you got two types. That's why they give you two words. Patience, but they make it a double meaning. Everything that makes sense with Yah, the devil gives it a double meaning. So go back and look at every word that has a double meaning, and trust me, it's a reason why they made it a double meaning, because it really got some truth in it, and they're trying to hide their truth. The devil hides all truth for the double meaning. Listen to me. He hides all truth for the what?
Double meaning.
A double meaning. He'll never let you know what that first word means, so he give you that secondary word on top of it to hide the original meaning. Like good morning. Morning has how many versions to it?
True.
It has a double meaning. So anytime you notice those words, the devil loves to give it a double meaning. Because that means he's hiding something within that word. As I said, of a land, people speaking a strange language, you can understand. Because they love to have double meanings in those words, especially words that they know those are Yah words. So they hide those Yah words from you. All right. So when you add to that patience, you're trying it out. And then once you're trying it out and you're doing the will of Yah, guess what that brings about? There you go. Because now you're doing the will of Yah. Just like Yah. And you looking like Yah because you're doing the will of Yah in the flesh. And now you have just now reserved your divine godliness, right? So that's your divine nature. That's what he's saying is kicking in. And so once that divine nature kicks in, that divine nature sends you right into what is necessary, right? Because now you have become godly. See, you have all these levels of knowledge you just realized was just for who? That was for you. Once you reach godliness, that's just who? For who? For you. But that's the thing. Godliness doesn't just stop with you. Because once you have gotten yourself together, then you move on to the next level of what? Brotherly what? Love. See, now you have to share your godliness with your brethren and get them up to speed too. Get them well educated as well. That's what it says. So now that second commandment kicks in, doesn't it? Now love your brother as Yah what? Loved you. And see, as you receive your godliness and your divine nature, you have to what? Help them what? Receive theirs. And the divine nature, I told you, is when you understand that you don't need nobody but who?
Yeah.
Exactly. That's your divine nature because you find that from within and through Yah. You see, these are things you can't go out and find that from anybody else. You can go to anybody trying to ask these questions, you'll never find it. Because they ain't got these answers to give you. These answers come from within and through Yah. This is called divine nature. You won't find that with a man. You won't find that with a woman. You go ask them all day long, what is divine nature? They're going, And if anything, they're going to try to tell you, oh, I know what it is, but then pull the wool, the cover over you. And straight up lie. So you know you can't go through them. But you that are godly know that you're supposed to help your brothers, right? And what is godliness? Not to see that once you become godly, you know that you don't, all you need is Yah and what is within. And so you understand that. And once you understand that, you become like Yahushua. Because that's how Yahushua was. He trusted what?
Yeah.
For everything he needed. That's that godliness. That's that divine nature. As you are supposed to come like Yahushua too. Didn't he say that? We had to become like him too. To have that divine nature. Now, once you have that divine nature, you know at that point you don't need you don't need no one but who? You and what? And Yah. So when you helping your brotherly kindness now, you begin to understand, you know what? I can't just help them and get out the way. I don't have to tarry because the beast nature, when a beast is hungry, it don't look for Yah for food, does it? Animals don't pray. They just pray. Double meaning.
Mm-hmm.
Pray and pray. Another double meaning. Because they prey on animals.
Right.
But he told you to what? Pray to Yah. See how that's another double meaning. You got P-R-A-Y and then you got P-R-E-Y. To prey on somebody is to sit there lurking and just waiting like a lion in the wilderness. Mm-hmm. Look at those gazelles running. Look at those deers. Mm-hmm. Which one am I going to eat today? See, that's the nature of the beast. See, when you ain't got it, divine nature tells you to what? Pray to Yah when you don't got it. Right? But the beast mind says when they ain't got it, what? Pray on what? One another. Pray on what? One another. That's the difference. Instead of praying to Yah, oh yeah, I need this, I need bread, they pray on one another. Okay, who house I'm about to what? They rob. Exactly. Exactly. That is the nature of the beast. It preys on one another when it's in need. Instead of praying to who?
Yeah.
To Yah for what it needs. And doesn't have no patience. But those that have a godly nature understand I don't have to pray on this person. Now that I can just pray to Yah and get what I need. So I don't even look at that person as, can you help me? Right? I don't look like that to them anymore. I look like just somebody that I can help you. And that's about it. I can tell you the same thing I know is that if you need something, do what? Pray. Right? And so that's the help you give them. You're going to have to pray. You're going to have to seek Yah more. I know you probably ain't never did that before, but you're going to have to if you want to make it through. And that person that's is of Yah, they either going to receive it or they're going to have that beast nature. Say, well, that ain't going to work. And they get to looking around. Well, who can I pray on? See? Because either they're going to hear you and receive that. If they is an elect, they're going to receive that you told them to pray. And if they is of Yah, they're going to begin to what? Pray to Yah. But if they ain't of Yah, that would mean that one ear goes and one ear what? And then they just looking around like, man, I heard you, but that ain't going to work for me. But those are ye of little what? Faith. Exactly. I hear you, but that ain't going to work for me. I need a real meal. And they looking at people for that. Those are beasts. Those are monsters. Because they don't seek Yah for food. They seek you one another. But Yah told you, man, don't live off what? Right. Bread alone. But by what? Every word that comes from Yah. So you have to seek Yah. But that's the thing they won't. They're afraid of that. It has to be like that. Some. Why? And this is what they cry. Why we gotta ask? We just can just take it. Why do we gotta pray and wait for it? Why we just can't just take it from somebody else who has it? And that's how that starts. Because that is their whole question. Why can I just have what I want? And why can I just take it? So out of that brotherly kindness, that you will start being very, how they say it, excusing of their sin, because kindness means mercy. Because now you understood how you had to come through this, right? And you start having mercy on your other brothers and sisters who are going through the same, issues. And having that mercy on them to tell them the truth and then help them along the way. And that mercy, brotherly kindness, leads to what? Charity, which is the greatest, which is love. Because that will be proven to show what? Your love. Through your help to them. You hear me? And the greatest help you can ever tell a person is to what? Seek out. From whence comes their help, right? That is the greatest knowledge you can share with somebody. But any other knowledge you tell them is off. If you tell them to go to Walmart, if you tell them to go to government, if you tell them to go over here, go over there, seek this person out, seek that person out. The greatest thing you should have told that person was to seek who? Yeah. Which would have answered all of that. And they probably wouldn't have to go to the first 10 places they end up having to go to if you just told them to seek Yah. 8. So for if these things be in you, see, if you maintain this mindset and abound in it, meaning and grow in it, they make you that you shall neither be barren nor unfruitful in the knowledge of what? Of Yahushua, Mashiach. See, this is that knowledge that gives you a divine nature. This is that knowledge. He said, if you can maintain this knowledge in this degree and not let it go in one ear and what? Out the other, even in times of what? Need. Trust me, you'll never be unfruitful, meaning all your prayers will be what? Answered. That's what it means. When it says not be barren or unfruitful, meaning that your prayers won't be what? Your prayers will be answered. Fruitful in prayer. Because did you know every time you get to a checkpoint in your life, the only way through it is that you're going to have to what? Pray. See, this is the part where everybody go back on. Pray. Yeah, you're going to have to pray. Like if you're trying to get to Houston to California, you're going to have to go through a checkpoint. And it's going to be that checkpoint that you're going to have to pray. Because that devil ain't going to let you through. Unless you what? You're going to understand it, but I'm speaking spiritually. It's places that you need to go spiritually. That the devil's in that place are there, like I said, a mountain that you got to say, get behind me, what? To even get through. And it's going to take prayer. And not just one prayer sometimes. Sometimes you got to pray more than once about the same thing until you get the answer to that what? To that prayer. And just don't give up on it. But I prayed once, so that should be enough. And if I don't get it once, to go back to my beast, like, who I'm finna get it from? No, that's what the patience means. So after you pray, you have to be what? Patient. Meaning now, you got to start doing some of the things that you know you need to do spiritually. What? Get into your word, seek Yah, study more, learn more, right? This is how you're going to actually be able to move on. And once y'all see that you haven't given, because why do you think you're reading more? Think about it. Why do you think you read more and study more?
Gain more knowledge to get closer to Yah.
It's to gain more knowledge to get closer to Yah, but also preoccupy your mind from falling back to those old what? Ways and thoughts. It's definitely there to preoccupy you. That's what patience means. Have patience. So that means at that time, it's time to pull out that book. It's time to read and understand some things and pray more and read and figure out what's going on. But during those times when you're praying and reading and stuff, that's when those healings can take place. Because it's just all it wants to see. Did you go back to your nature? Or did you stick with what you knew? See, some of us quickly go back to those impulses when we pray one day and if we don't see it within like 30 minutes, we on the hunt. We on the prey. So that shows that you have little faith. So can't work no miracle for you because you're already back on the hunt. As if you just didn't pray for it. You didn't even take the time to wait to see when it was gonna come through. But you on the hunt, on the prey. And when you do that, you just show y'all that you of that beast nature. And you're not you still haven't made it to this spiritualness of a divine nature. You don't have it. And if you do have it, it's very, very, very weak. Because you it ain't been dusted off. It's just sitting on the shelf somewhere. Haven't never been used. Because you ain't got the time to dust it off and use it. But you on the prey. I need. Who gonna give me this? Who gonna give me that? Aha, there goes somebody right there. Ah. And on the attack mode. That's how it is. Think about it. That's why they call some people like gold diggers, or they call it's what you in it just for the money. It's just people, or what they call it. You're a wolf, because it's what a wolf does, doesn't it? They prey on you. They sit around, they walk by you, and they sniffing and they lurking and they hiding in the shadows and just waiting for an opportunity to jump out and eat you. And they be hungry, don't you? And they run in packs, don't they? But that's that same animal nature you tell us not to have when we need, right? But how many of us can maintain that? That's the hardest part. But that's why it's good when you do get a victory with Yah, because that increases your faith. So be careful of that, because when you ask for that, that's exactly what's going to happen. When you tell Yah, please increase my faith, guess what Yah finna do? But he has to put you through a scenario for it to increase. He has to put you through something so that you can recognize who's going to deliver you out of it. That was how I create both good and evil. So I have to put you in a situation for you to think that and come to the understanding that only I can get you out of that. I am the one who put you in it. And you won't be delivered by any other means. When you have this, trust me, this is what they call your divine nature. Is when you finally realize that I'm not going to get help by nobody else. And nothing else can save me from this problem. Yah the one gave it to me. It's only Yah that's going to take it away from me. I'm going to show you when he was talking about it. It's a story. I got to give it to you. Yeah. Go to John 9:1. It's definitely good for you to understand and learn this one. Mm-hmm. Now, here we go. Now, as Yahushua passed by, he saw a man which was blind from what? Birth. Remember what I just told you. That if Yah gave it to you, it's only Yah that can deliver you from it. So this man was blind from birth. From birth. Now see how his disciples responded when they met him. And his Butter, go cut the fire off on the stove for me. He said, and his disciples asked him, saying, Master, who did sin? See, this man or his parents, that he was born blind. So they want to know, what did he do wrong? What happened to him? I know he had to have done something to be like this. Right? Born blind, that's such a tragedy. That sucks. And Yahusha answered, neither have this man sinned, see, nor his parents, but that the works of Yah should be made manifested in him. This is what I mean about Yah put you in it, and only Yah can what? Give you out of it. See, because he asked, I said, what did he do? See, they wanted to say at this point, this was the devil. They want to say he sinned. They want to say, because you're going to understand, every time you see people and going through some things, it doesn't always mean that they had what? Sin. See, he's showing you right here. It doesn't always mean. Don't get caught up with that narrative that you see somebody going through some, oh, that person didn't sin. Yah, at those divine moments is when Yah is testing your what? Faith. So you got some who have sinned and they go through things because they have sinned. But then there's some of us that are going through things because Yah is just testing our what? Faith. Remember I told you, if you pray Yah strengthen my faith, he what? He will. But he has to what? Put you through something in order for you to put your trust where? In him. And then that is what's going to increase the faith. Because he got to put you in a situation that no one else can get you out of. But Yah, this is how he increases your faith. He's going to give you a situation that no one can get you out of. I know on the outside looking in, people thinking, man, that person did this and did that. That's how they thought about Job, right? Job, that's when they came to Job. Job, you must have did some crazy stuff in your day. Well, all this stuff coming upon you. But then what the scripture say, but Job had not what? He had not sinned, did he? But it was Yah who told the devil, have you considered my servant what? Job. See, it was Yah because Yah was trying to increase his what? Faith. So sometimes it don't be that you have done anything. Sometimes Yah is saying it's just time for an upgrade. So I need to put you through something so that you can be upgraded in your faith. It can be strengthened, that you will realize and recognize I'm always with you. It ain't about what you got going on for yourself. I'm with you. And if I'm with you, then I got you. But sometimes we have to be reminded that Yah what? Is there. Because we start looking at the stuff we what? Got. And we sometimes we forget that Yah's there, who has given us all those what? Things. And we start looking at the things like, okay, I'm good. And we start thinking now that we are strengthened by those things. And we forget that it is Yah. And then Yah has to what? Remind us. You think it truly is those things about which you stand? Or isn't you standing because I choose for you to what? Stand.
Does he choose?
Right. And so Yah has to put all those things in your presence. Just like Job, he got to put all those things to shame. In your presence. So that means he going to make everything you did trust in go wrong, right? And you're like, that didn't work. Go to that. 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 That didn't work. Okay, what about that? That didn't work. And so you looking around like that, everything doesn't work. And that's what Yah says, now here I am. I needed you to see that those things ain't going to get you through what? Nothing. It's only if I decide for you to come through that you will come through. And when you get on your knees back down and you begin to pray, and you begin to seek Yah once again, then Yah delivers you. And reminds you all over again, see, it was always who? Me. That's what he means when he said, I create good and I create the evil. So that I can deliver you from what? The evil. That who can deliver you? I. Right? Ain't nobody else gonna do it. Ain't nobody else can't do it. They looking just as dumbfounded as you about the remedy. I don't know what to do. I've tried everything. That's what Yah loves to hear. I tried what? Everything. And y'all say, nah, who you need. And then you realize that's where that divine nature kicks in. Right? So that's what they were saying right here. They were like, man, what he did wrong? I know he had to have done something. And Yahushua said, nah, he ain't did nothing. Not at all. And he said, but he was blind since birth. What you mean he ain't did nothing? We know the devil be plaguing people left and right when they be sinning. But Yahushua was like, nah, he didn't do anything, but that the works of Yah should be made manifested in him. Meaning Yah wanted to just show y'all something right quick. See, that's what it meant. This is for a lesson. You get it? See, these is those educational moments. That's why he was always with his disciples, to show them very educational moments, so that they wouldn't be deceived. And because they probably, man, but if Yahushua probably went there, they probably picked up rocks and stoned them. Nigga, you cursed. We thought somebody, you got a sickness, the devil, yeah, the devil working on you. But now, so y'all showed them that there is a difference, like he's showing us. There is some of us that go through things because we have sin, and there's some of us that are going through things because it's just time for us to be upgraded. And then Yah has to put us through those faith, divine nature moments to strengthen our what? Our faith. You hear me? Because so that you can have the victory to say, Yah got me through another one. And that makes you trust Yah even what? More. Right? Because the goal is for you to trust Yah even what? More. And to trust Yah with your whole what? Life. Not a piece of it. But Heavenly Parents are trying to get you to the point where you trust Yah with your whole what? Life. And not look back. You ever see them movies, them shows, when they be standing on stage and then they'll turn their back to the crowd and then just kind of fall back into the crowd? That's that moment that Yah's talking about. He needs you to have that with him. But this time, ain't nobody in the room. But can you do that with Yah? Turn your back, close your eyes, and let go. Can you? See, this is the part we said divine faith is when you got to learn to be able to do that with Yah. Close your eyes, let go, fall back. And know that Yah gonna what? He's gonna catch you.
I'll do it.
Exactly. He said, so I must work the works of him that sent me while it is day. The night cometh when no man can work. See? I must do this while it is day, right? The night cometh when no man can work. As long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world. So when he had thus spoke, he spat on the ground and made clay of the spittle, and he anointed the eyes of the blind man with the clay, and said unto him, go wash in the pool of Siloam, which is interpreted sent. He went his way, therefore, and washed, and came back seeing. The neighbors, therefore, and they that had before seen him that he was blind, said, is this not him that sat and begged every day? Some say, yeah, this is he. Others say, he is like him, but he said, it can't be him because this one can see. Therefore said they unto him, how were your eyes opened? He answered and said, a man that is called Yahushua made clay, anointed my eyes, and said unto me, go to the pool and wash. And I went and washed, and I received my sight. They said unto him, where is he then? He said, well, I don't know where yet. They brought to the Pharisees him that aforetime was blind. And it was on the Sabbath day when Yahushua had made the clay and opened his eyes. Then again the Pharisees also asked him how he had received his sight. And he said unto them, he put clay upon my eyes and washed, and I do see. Therefore some of the Pharisees, this man is not of Yah. See, they're already hostile. Look at him. This man is not of Yah, because he keepeth not the Sabbath day. Others say, well, how can a man that is a sinner do such a miracle? Come on now, make it make sense. And there was a division amongst them, so they began to argue. 17 said, they said unto the blind man again, okay, well, what sayest thou of him, that he has opened thy eyes? He said, what is he? Like, who is he? He said, well, is he a prophet? He is a prophet. But the Jews did not believe concerning him that he was even that. that he had been blind and received his sight until they called his parents of him that he had received his sight. And they asked him, saying, is this your son, whom you say was born blind? How then he do not see? His parents asked him and said, well, we know that this is our son and that he was born blind. But by what means he not seeth, we know of not. Or who has opened his eyes, we know that not. He is of age, though. Ask him. He shall speak for himself. These words spake his parents because they feared the Jews. For the Jews had already agreed and determined if any man confessed that this man was anything greater than them, that they should be put out of the synagogues or the places of provisions. Synagogues at those times was like the store markets and stuff like that. These would be the places of provisions where the people would go and get food and stuff, like the pantries and stuff. Mm-hmm. And so they was already afraid that if Jews said, if anybody said that this man is greater than them, they weren't going to be able to get that like government what? Assistance, right? That's what he was saying. That's what they basically the synagogues represent, okay? Those institutions. And therefore said he his parents, he is of age, ask him. So then again, they called the man blind and said unto him, okay, give God the praise. We know that this man is a sinner. He answered and said, well, whether he be a sinner or no, I know not. One thing I know, that where I was blind and now I see. Right there. I don't know what this man is. I don't know what he got going on. I just know that I was blind and now I see. Through this man. Then said to him again, well, what did he do to you? How did he open your eyes? He done already told him about 3-4 times, but now they're asking him again, like the story gonna change up. He answered them and said, I told you already, and you did not hear. Wherefore would you hear it again? Will you also be his disciples if I tell it to you again? Now here go that hostile moment. I told you, hostility, this is what they show when they see something greater than them. Instead of receiving it, they immediately get what? And hostile towards it, right? They reviled him and said, you are his disciple, but we are Moses' disciples. See, we ain't fooling with it. We ain't. And we know that God spoke unto Moses. As for this fellow, we don't know from whence this nigga came. And the man answered and said unto them, well, why herein is a marvelous thing, that you know not from whence he is, since you say you don't know where he came from, and yet he has opened my eyes. A man that was born blind, and you don't understand where he come from, right? He said, so let me break this down to you. He said, no, we know that God heareth not what? Sinners. But if a man be a worshiper of Yah, these are the qualifications. Listen, how to get your prayers answered. If a man be a worshiper of Yah, seek Yah with all your what? And doeth his will, him Yah will what? Hear. Since the word began, was it not heard that any man opened the eyes of one that was born blind? So he's giving them facts. Ain't nobody never opened no blind eye. Which one of y'all ever? Who? Name one. And if this man were not of Yah, so he's giving you what he's saying he come from. He got to have came from who? Yah. He could do nothing. They answered and said to him, thou was altogether born of sin. And do you not try to teach us? And they cast him. See, they just hostile. They always hostile towards somebody telling them something good. Like they just think they know it what? They think they know it all. Ain't nothing out there greater than them. But he already done slapped them in the face with the, well, if y'all was so great and of y'all, why didn't y'all heal me? Huh? Why didn't y'all do anything about my issue? You did nothing about my infirmity. They couldn't. And it's not that they even couldn't. A lot of them just what? Won't. Because they want what out of it? Payments and money and stuff. Like these doctors now, right? Some of them can do some things, but they won't do it unless you what? Pay them. So that's what he's saying. I can't, y'all didn't do anything for me. I was begging, poor anyway, so you know I didn't have the money to get no healing. And neither know would you do anything for me. Nothing. But this man came and did it. How much he paid? Nothing. So he had already put them to disgrace. And they casted him out. I said, man, you get out of here. So they kicked him out of the city. They took him out of the government program. You can't get in there. You want to talk down, we'll see. And that's how they are. They're very hostile towards something that is greater than them. knowing that they didn't have the power to do anything for that man. But that's what he had to understand. Remember I told you that divine nature was that he had to understand that them people couldn't what? Do nothing for him. And did nothing what? For him. All those years he sat and begged them for a healing. Because they so-called swear that they could do it. But they left that man high and dry. Every day walk past and past and past and past, coming and going. And wouldn't do nothing for that man. So then that's that divine faith to realize, I see y'all ain't gonna never do nothing for me. Y'all ain't never intended on doing anything for me. Y'all ain't gonna lift no restrictions, no restraints off of me. Y'all say y'all God's people, but y'all see one of us in distress and y'all will not come to not one of our aid. Not one. So that's the divine nature, is when you have to understand that it's only y'all that can get you what? Out of it. And so when he spoke that to them, they didn't like it. Because he exposed them. Like, man, y'all can't do nothing for me. Y'all can't do nothing for none of these people in here. Only thing y'all do is threats. But y'all see somebody who can, and instead of receiving him, y'all want to talk down on him and try to have him killed, right? Crucified, because he can. Do the very things that y'all, that if y'all would have been doing it, he's saying, then there would have been no need for what? For him, would it? But the only reason why he came, you got to understand the spirit. The only reason why this spirit is here this day, it is because of what they refused to what? Yeah. To do. See, these things, they always want to swear that God loved this world, but he would not have brought such a spirit that we have now if y'all loved this world, because it would not have been a need for this spirit that we have of saying this stuff right here needs to go. It would have never been that. Because trust me, if they'd have been doing everything right, y'all ain't gonna change good. He's not gonna remove good. It's when things go belly up bad that Yah sends in a new spirit that says, okay, now it's time to blow this one down. No longer can we stand on none of this stuff. It's time for a new day. It's time for a new world. Time for a new heaven, new kingdom. It's time for a new earth. But things are different. Things are better. Under better circumstances. Because right now we see this ain't going to get it. And I ain't been getting it for quite a while now. And there's too many people crying out with these same prayers of deliverance that they're not getting from these people. How many people got retarded medical bills? Got retarded bills because these people don't do nothing. They just let it pile up. And when they see they're about to get removed, then they try to make a little inch of trying to do something then. When they see, oh, there's too many people getting upset with what we're doing out here, let's try to make me do a little something to try to ease them. That's where these stimulus and stuff will come out of it. Let's do something for them just so they won't be too aggravated at what we're not doing. Right? But when y'all see that you ain't doing right by your post, y'all will remove you and put in something that is better. That will, right? That's what that spirit represents. Spirit only comes when it's time for what? For change. Did you know that? Yeah. When does the spirit come? When it's come time for change. That's why it says in times of visitations. He comes when it's time for a change. Because if everything is going well, the spirit of liberty doesn't come because everything is fine. But when Yah looks down from heaven and just sees, okay, let's see what's going on, and just hear what some of the natives got to say about what's going on. Everybody crying out, man, they ain't did nothing, they ain't doing nothing, everything, going belly up. And Yah say, okay, it's time for a change. And then Yah sends His Spirit through that, and it begins to ignite people like us to look and say, "It ain't this. This is not right. What's going on? This ain't perfect. This is a hot mess. Trust me." And that's of Yah. It is of Yah. Because trust me, if everything is all good, not one of us would have a complaint. Not one. So it's obvious that it's not good. And when that happens, it's like wildfire. One gets that spirit, and then number two, then it begins to get multiplied of people that begin to be frustrated at what's going on and saying this is not good. It's not good. And the more that grow starts outnumbering the ones who want to keep this in place, knowing that their days are numbered. And then Yah will make that move to get rid of those things that are keeping the complaints so that the people can go home in liberty. And he said, wherever the Spirit is, there is liberty. There's freedom to serve who? Yah. Y'all don't like it when it gets congested and people can no longer can serve Yah because of the stuff that's going on. So he says it like this. He tells him, 35. So when Yahushua heard that they had casted him out, and when he had found him, he said to him, do you not believe on the Son of what? Yah. So he had to put away them so he can believe what? On Yah now. You see, that's the thing. He had to have a divine faith. He said, do you believe now that it's only Yah that could do these things for you? And he answered and said, well, who is he? That I might believe on him. And Yahushua said unto him, thou hast both seen him, and it is he that talketh with you. And he said, well, yeah, I believe. And he worshiped him. And Yahushua said, for judgment, see, I have come into this world. See, meaning that he is that spirit, right? Same way. He said, I'm the spirit. I have now come what? Into this world. And he says, for judgment, because I see there's a lot of things, what? Not right. So the spirit, when Yah sends that spirit, don't he? When he don't see things right, Yah will send that spirit. That they would see not, might what? See and understand. And they would see, might be made what? Blind. So what is it that the blind man had to see? He had to see that only Yah. And he had to see not only who could help him, but he also had to see who was not what? Helping him. Yeah, meaning what are their purpose then? If they not here to do these things that you are doing for us right now, then what's the need and purpose for them? Do we really truly need them anymore? See, that's the thing. Everything that was created and designed and ministered unto us was supposed to be a help to us. But when it no longer serves us, the people, Yah does away with it. That's what the judgment means. If it no longer is helping, then it has to be hindering. Yah don't like things that are found to be hindering. And that's what Yah would do away with them. He says it. And some of the Pharisees which were with him, after they heard these sayings, said unto him, are we blind also? And Yahushua said unto them, well, if you were blind, you should have no what? Sin. Seeing if you didn't know, you wouldn't have had no sin. But now you say, we see. Therefore, your sin what? Remain. Because they saying they see outside of Yahushua. Yahushua always said, well, I didn't come to save what is perfect. But I come to turn those that aren't perfect unto what? Repentance. So what is perfect, I don't need to help anything that's already perfect. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, so that's what he's saying. You know what he means? At those checkpoints, I am not here to hinder those that are already what? righteous. See, when the righteous get to the checkpoints, remember I told you this? You got to be able to get through. But you're going to have to do what at those times? You got to pray. So he's saying, for the righteous who make it to these checkpoints, I am by no means will hold them what? Back. But if you pray, I will let you through that what? That checkpoint. See, that's what he's saying. I by no means am here to stop the righteous, but I'm here to what he said, to cause them that are not to what? Repent. Repent means when you get to that checkpoint, you can't what? You can't go through though. That's what Yahushua said. I'm come for that judgment. See, for those that are going on to salvation, those that are righteous, they always can be able to pray and get through that checkpoint. But for you that are still a sinner and have not changed your ways and haven't given in, that what he said, those who thought they could see, we're going to realize when they get to that checkpoint that they couldn't what? See. Because he ain't meaning they couldn't see their way out. Get through this checkpoint. Oh, great seer. Yeah, you blinded. You won't be able to get through the what? The checkpoint. You want to get through that door. Remember I told you about that door that you got to get through? He's telling you the only way through that door is through prayer. But you have to be righteous too, because he said prayer with patience. Patience means you continue on with your work of what? Righteousness. Until you get your what? Your healing. Dot your I's, cross your T's. Make sure you don't got nobody that you need to repent. Make sure that you don't got nobody that you need to forgive or that need to forgive you. You know what I'm talking about? Things like that. Works of righteousness. Make sure you're doing all those things when you pray. Make sure check all your boxes, and then your healings will what? They will take place, won't they? And then when those times you get to those checkpoints, you'll be able to what? You'll be able to get through. You'll be able to what? I'm telling you, I see it for myself. I tell y'all things because these are the things that I go through. There was times when, remember my little cough I had? You see, it's not gone, right? Now the question is, who did that? Yeah. Through prayer. Went through the medication. I almost went to the doctor. And didn't even have to. Because you had to realize divine what? Intervention. And that divine nature had to kick in. So some things that I needed to do. Dot my I's and cross my T's. If I owe anybody mercy or forgiveness, go and do that. Take care of those things. And then pray. And then, what? Let me through. Let me through. Because when you get to those checkpoints, you're going to realize only Yahushua can what? Let you through. But it's going to take prayer and righteousness. I would even tell you, not only just to pray, but be patient when you pray. Patient doesn't mean just sit on your butt and do nothing and wait for it. No, it means now, okay, let me go see if I need to serve somebody. Is anybody out here that I need to forgive? Anybody that I need to bless? Anybody need to give? You know what I'm talking about? You need to get on that. Because you need a blessing. You need a breakthrough. That's why they call it breakthrough, that door. How you going to get through it? But if you don't do it, Yah keeps you right there at that door, and you become blinded to how to get through it. Because getting through it takes prayer and what? Fasting. Didn't he say that? Mm-hmm. Prayer and what? Fasting. See, that's that patience. Prayer and fasting. To release the demon that's on you. To get a devil off of you. To get you through that door. Prayer and what? Fasting. Okay? Now, let's go back to 2 Peter 1. Does not be building upon our greatest faith. That's what he said. So if you, but he that lacked these things is what? 2 Peter 1 and verse 9. Blind. But he that lacked, see? Those who haven't done this will be blinded when they get to that door, right? And cannot see what? Afar off. And forgotten that he was purged from his old what? What was his old sins? Of not what? Having faith, not forgiving, not having mercy, all those things they forgot. What manner of man they needed to be to get through these doors. Right? Wherefore, the rather, brethren, give diligence, do that search to make your calling and election what? Sure. For if you do these things, you shall never what? Fail to get through what? Those doors. See, when you're doing the right thing, y'all gonna always get you through what? Those doors. To continue on in your journey. How you know? 11 tells you. For so what? An entrance shall be ministered unto you abundantly, a doorway. What does an entrance mean? It's a doorway. I will open the door for you to get through. Exactly. Will be ministered unto you abundantly into the everlasting kingdom of our Yahuwah Mashiach. See that? Because that's where you're headed to, right? And he knows you're headed to heaven, but he knows you need some things to get there, right? Mm-hmm. So he knows that he has to give you those things to get there. Health is one of them, for sure. Those things you do need to get through. Can't make it if you die ahead of time, right? So health is one of the things you need. Now the devil will try to hinder your health going forward, but then it is Yahushua is the one that continues to give you the good health to continue on, right? But the devil will try to hinder you through these sicknesses and things, okay? So he says, so wherefore, I will not be negligent to put you always in remembrance of these things, see? Though you know them and be established in this present what? Truth. Yeah, I think it meet, as long as I am in this tabernacle to stir you up by putting you in remembrance. Knowing that shortly, listen to this one though, but knowing that surely I must put off this tabernacle, even as Yahushua Mashiach has showed me. So right now he's talking about put off his tabernacle. He has to put off what?
His skin.
His skin, his flesh. See, I tell you got to put it off. Them beastly natures, you have to get rid of those things. So just like Yah showed him, Yahushua revealed it to him that he had to get rid of these things in order to get through some of these interests. Right. Because these things hold you what? Back. They really do. He's telling you they do. If you don't let go of these natures, you won't be able to get in. Right? So he says, I have to put off this stuff too, even as Yahushua have showed me. Moreover, I will endeavor that you may be able, after my decease, see, to have these things always in what? Remembrance. Because he knew he had to let go, right? In order for you to be saved, he had to die. That's what he's telling you. In order for him to be saved, he had to let go of some of his old stuff. See, because he knew Yahushua had told him according to what he had to do for his life to be saved. See, he's not telling all of us that we have to die physically, but we for sure have to die what? Spiritually, and get rid of them bad habits. Mm-hmm. Now, it was different for Peter because Yahushua told him specifically that he had to die. He told him that. You was going to have to die. He said when you was young, you was able to go wherever you wanted. But as you get older, Peter, someone is going to clothe you and take you by the hand to a place that you don't want to go. Talking about his death. When he what? Matures. They was going to put him to what? Yeah. Once he matured. So he knew that was his fate. And he accepted it. Because he knew that if he didn't do it, he was not going to be what? Saved. So remember, Yah will give you a prescription for your life. And you must follow that course to the what? To the T if you want to be saved. Now for him, that was his prescription. Told him that he had to take this path. And then if he took this path, then he would have gained eternal life. So he had to do it. And he did it. Kudos. Right? But it doesn't always tell us, everyone, that we have to take on that same path. He will show you what you will have to do. He will show me what I will have to do to gain this the same eternal life. Because he said he's the author and finisher of all of our faiths. He tells us what we have to do. That's why he says every day we need that daily what? Bread. Which is the daily wisdom of what we need to do for that day. What is necessary that I be granted salvation. All right? He says, and for we have not followed, 16, for we have not followed cunning devised fables when we made known to you the power and the coming of Yahushua Mashiach, but were eyewitnesses of his majesty. When did we see it? For we received it from Yah the Father, honor and glory, when there came such a voice from the excellent glory, saying that this is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. And this voice which came from heaven we heard, when we were with him in the holy mount. After we also have a more sure word of prophecy too, right? Whereunto you do well that you take heed. Take heed to what? Prophecy. See? Because that's what I told you, because not all of us are going to go away like Peter did. Some of us are in tune with some of the prophecies that we must fulfill, right? So we don't know necessarily what Yah has planned what for you. That's why you have to ask what? Daily, right? Because you don't know exactly what direction that the Spirit wants to take you in. You just know you have to go with it, right? And this voice which came from heaven we heard when we were with him in the holy mount. 19, we have a sure word of prophecy, whereunto you do well that you take heed, as unto a light that shineth in a dark place, until the what? The day dawn, and the day star arise in your hearts. Because what was the devil's star? What they call him? The what said? The morning star. But what does he call him right here, though? The day star. I told you it's a difference between morning and what? Day is brighter than what? Morning. Exactly. And daylight and morning light. Yahushua said, I am of the daylight, which is brighter than the what? The morning light. So that's why he's telling you he's greater than the devil. The devil is the angel of the what? Morning. And Yahushua is the angel of the what? The day. And he says, until this day star arises in who heart? Your heart. That you may understand and have Yahushua in your heart. Knowing this first, that no prophecy of the scripture is of any what? Private interpretation. So he's telling you, first of all, if you had this understanding, you will know that there's nothing hidden from his people. So don't be the one trying to what? Hide things. That's what he's saying. You don't hide from my people. You make everything very what? Open and what? Clear to them. Don't hide it from them. And don't hide yourself, who do know the truth. Don't hide my interpretation from them. Meaning, if I'm telling you that this is how they have to walk, this is what you tell them. Don't hide it from them. You can't keep this to yourself, because you're only going to be called a gatekeeper at that point. And you don't want to be called a what? A gatekeeper. Because if you call a gatekeeper, that means you the one holding everybody what? From passing. So we got to get rid of who? You. All right. For 21 says, for the prophecy came not in old times by the will of man, but he also telling you this. If there is any prophecy, that means there's a future, right? He said, for the prophecy came not in old time by the will of man. See? But holy men of Yah spoke as they were moved by the Holy Spirit. So he's telling you this again, to reiterate. Man can't tell you what's going to be in the future. So we say, prophecy is not by the will of man, because man don't want nothing to change, do it? Right? Man don't want anything to change. But if Yah wants change, then he brings in what? The spirit and prophecy, right? To tell you it's going to be something, it's going to be some what? Some changes. And when that comes in, that man can't stop that, can he? Because who spirit don't just come out of nowhere. It comes because Yah has seen that it's time for what? That's what prophecy means. Time for what? Exactly. And the time you hear prophecy, that means it's time for what? Exactly. Time for a change. So he says it like this in 2 Peter 2. Let's go over. But there were false prophets also among the people, even as there shall be false teachers among you, who privately shall bring in damnable heresies or hypocrisies, even denying the Lord that brought them, and bring upon themselves swift destruction. And many shall follow their pernicious ways, by reason of whom the way of truth shall be evils, what? Spoken of. So he's telling me these prophecies is going to become evil, what? Spoken of. People are going to say, nah, we don't want to do that. We shouldn't, because they want to stay and keep what? This world. But if the prophecies and spirit has spoken, then we know that Yah wants what? That world. So we go toward follow the what? The spirit, right? We know we have to. But there's gonna be some trying to say, well, Yah didn't say that. Yah saying we can keep this world and we can keep as is, and it's all good. But trust me, if Yah wanted this world, you'll never have a what? A spirit or prophecy. That's what he meant. If this is it, then there will be no more what? Spirit or what? Or prophecy, talking about something else. But if we talking about something else, then that must mean Yah finna what? Finna change some things. All right? So, and through covetous, they shall with feigned words make merchandise of you, who judgment now and of a long time lingereth not, and that damnation slumbereth not. For if Yah spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell, and delivered them to the chains of darkness, to be reserved unto judgment, and spared not the old world, but saved Noah the eighth person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in a flood upon the world of the ungodly, and turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemned them with an overthrow. See, overthrew their world, didn't he? Making them an example unto us that after should live what? Ungodly. If we decide to be like them, that's going to be the example. You're going to be overthrown. That's what the spirit and prophecy is there to do. To what? Over what? Overthrow them. Telling them that their world is no good, and the spirit and prophecy wants a new world. He said the only time the spirit of prophecy comes out when your world is no longer what? Good. And delivered just Lot, vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked. For the righteous man dwelling among them, in seeing and hearing, vexed his righteous soul from day to day with their unlawful deeds. The Lord knoweth how to deliver the godly out of what? Temptation, and to reserve the unjust until the day of judgment to be punished. But chiefly them that walk after the flesh in the lust of uncleanness, and despise government. Presumptuous they are, self-willed. They are not afraid to speak evil of dignitaries. So when he says despise the government, he's not talking about the government of this world. Because he says, 10, read it again. But chiefly them that walk after the flesh in the lust. See? So they already had what type of nature on them? The beastly nature, right? And he's telling you that these are the ones that despise what? Government. What is the government of the new world? They despise the ones that are what they call the officials. They despise the authorities of that world. They despise those prophecies. That's what he's telling you. Those that have an unclean, beastly spirit here of the flesh and lust, the beast, they despise what? They despise governments, man. They despise what? Prophecies. They despise what they speaking of that world. They telling you that we don't want that world to come. So they speaking evil of it. Governments meant not talking about this world because he said they was in the lust. So they're telling you that these are the beasts. And they despise government. They despise the authority. The authority are the prophets. That's already telling them that things are finna what? Change. Because that's what prophecy tells you. Things are finna what? Change. And they despise that word, that government. They despise that things are finna what? Change. So presumptuous they are. Self-willed, that's what makes them a beast. And they are not afraid to speak evil of what? Dignitaries. Again, talking about those prophets and those who are warning them that everything is, their world is going to be what? Taken from them if they don't repent. But instead they just speak what? Evil of those people. Dignities are the dignified. Who are dignified? The ones who got the spirit of man and what? And the spirit of what? Woman. Because they don't act like a what? A beast. See, there's a difference. You got the spirit of man and woman that don't act like a what? An animal out here, do they? So they speak evil of them anytime these are trying to refrain from doing the what? The lusting and the evil, right? They trying to hold their dignity. Those who try to hold their dignity, they speak evil of them. Why are you trying to be like that? Why you just don't be like us? We just take what we want. We live how we want. We nobody tell us nothing. But you trying to maintain that dignity about you. You just trying to keep that integrity. You need to sink beneath to our levels. And this one's saying no. So when they say no, they speak evil of them. Right? They try to flip the script on them and say that they went mad. But you know you haven't went mad because you have not. This is the key. This is how you know if you have not went mad. Madness, or everybody that was in that stadium that packed that stadium against Samson when they plucked out his eyes. Those people had went what? Mad. Because now they just want to see him get torn out. And you could imagine in some of these coliseums when they brought in some of them Hebrews. Like, you ever seen Gladiator? The movie Gladiator with Russell Crowe? Well, Gladiator, they had coliseums back in the Roman days. And anything that wasn't a thumbs up with Caesar, he would make them prisoner, but he would make them participate in those games. Now, in those games, all the people who packed the stands wanted to see an execution. Because they was trying to say, this is what happens when you go against Caesar. So all the people would pack out those stands, those coliseums, Roman coliseums, were people who wanted to see the most horrific deaths. So what they would bring out is people like those Hebrews who did not want to give in to Caesar. When they're like, you going to bow to Caesar? And they would say, well, we not. So you ain't going to bow to Caesar, huh? You're not going to give in, right? Okay, so they would throw that type of person in chains and lead them off to these games, these coliseums. And then they would drag them out. And then they would be awaiting for them the most horrific death, which it probably could be maybe a 10-foot tall, man with fully armored, you know what I'm saying, with a bunch of swords, and he just finna slaughter all of them. Or they came out there to be met by lions and tigers that they hadn't fed in a week. And they put them out there against them, and they say, well, now pray to your gods now. Pray that y'all gonna save y'all now, since you didn't want to give in to Caesar. And all of them wanted to see the very thing that all of their nature wanted to see. A beast devour a man. Because that was their heart anyway. That's always what they wanted to see. Because that's the lust of the beast. Their mental mind always wants to see that. I just want to see a man with dignity get swallowed by somebody who don't got no dignity. I want to see him get consumed. I want to see everybody in here that's of a beast eat this one up who got dignity. Because we love as us then he calls them blankets. Remember, he said when you light a light, you don't cover it with a what? See, these are the blankets. They want to cover back up that light. They want to swallow that dignity out of the world. They don't want to let the world see that you're supposed to live like that. And that is the dignities. Those are dignified people who you should be like. But because Caesar is an animal and a beast and all his servants are beasts and they don't give a squat, so that's what they love to see. Pay-per-view. Let us see one of those who say they believe in Yah and want to maintain their integrity. Let's see what they do when we all just try to consume. That's what we want to see. See, we're going to prove to this one and prove to Yah that the beast going to devour all men and women of earth. We're going to devour them. The beast going to win. We're going to chain them down and we're going to swallow each one of them sooner or later. But all of them is going to be the beast lunch. That's what it's going to be. Caesar going to rule. But they ain't nothing more but monsters, beasts, animals, heathens, he called them. That just love to consume good people because they can't stand them. Because they maintain an integrity that they don't have within themselves. All their life, when they get hungry, they don't pray. They just take. So even in that aspect of putting on that pay-per-view was to see that very thing happen too. And they always would put the dignitaries in the most horrible situations and circumstances. Like half the time they was already chained down when they got beaten. Like Emmett Till. They give them no hope by taking away everything from them. And then tell them to steal. Let's see if your Yah gonna help you. We're gonna tie your hands behind your back. We're gonna tie down your feet. We're going to tie down, you won't be able to do nothing. And we're going to make sure that what's coming against you is going to be way bigger than you. We're going to have many of them more than you. We're going to outnumber you. We're going to surround you. And then still say, well, let us see the power of Yah now. But it's just nothing more but a great consumer. Big fish eat what? Little fish. That's it. That's it. And that's all this world is reduced to. That anyone that want to stand up and say, I just want to serve Yah, oh, you the problem. Because you want to serve Yah. We don't. We want to serve ourselves, like our animal says. We just want to serve ourselves. And you look like lunch. That's it. That's it. Because that's the beast's nature. Animals, all they know how to do is eat and consume. They don't have a mind to what they consume. They don't feel sorry for what they consume. They just know only thing they feel sorry that their belly begin to grumble. And they say, well, I gotta feed it. I gotta feed it. But they were supposed to do what? When their belly began to grumble? Pray to who?
Pray to Yah.
But that means first you will have to serve Yah. And that's what they said we ain't finna to do. And that's how it goes. So it says it even here. In 2 Peter 2 and 11. He says, but whereas the angels, which are greater in power and might, bring not railing accusations against them before the Lord. See, they won't even, he said the angels of heaven won't even speak against dignitaries, meaning just dignified people who trying to live right. They ain't got nothing evil to say about a dignified person trying to live right. But these, as what? Natural brute beasts. see, got something negative to say about these types. Why are you trying to live something anyway? Made to be. See, some of these beasts, they made to be what? Taken and destroyed because they are in error. It's like you already created to be that. You created to be destroyed because we see right now you just don't get it. Taken captive and what? Destroyed. Man, you only created to be caught. And somebody just said, man, catch that thing and burn it. Whatever that little monstrosity is. Telling you that that's their future. And they speak evil of the things that they don't what? That they don't even understand. Because he's talking about spiritual things. They don't never look up. They just look down. Who's next? I'm hungry. They don't look up for salvation. They don't say, well, you know what it is? A Yah up there that can take care of us and get us through this if we ever need it. So that's what they're there for. They don't look up like that. They just say, if I need it, I can get it. And I just know this is what I'm going to do. And they look around looking for victims. Who's going to be my next what? Victim. This is how the beast eats. The same way they do in the wilderness, right? Animals do in the wilderness. They're always sitting around looking for their next what? Victim. That's all they know. That's why they say y'all become just like them. What's to separate man from animal? What separates man from animal?
Yeah.
That's stuff. Yeah. He says, and shall utterly perish in their own corruption. That's how they're going to die, with that same mind. It's because it's the mindset that they have is going to lead them to their what? To their own destruction. Because your mindset of consuming something is what's going to destroy you. And I'm going to reveal to you why he say that. Because that will be their end. It's in Revelation. Always looking for their next meal. How is they going to be destroyed? And shall receive the reward of unrighteousness as they counted pleasure, see, to riot in the daytime. See, they counted it good. It's a sport to do this. Some of them think it's a sport, right? Trust me, some people look at they look at it as a sport. He tell him, his buddy, and watch, you think I can go get what's my number? You think I can? It's a sport. They want the number for what purpose? But you're gonna see one dude tell his friend, "You're never gonna get that number. Watch me go get that number." They go like, "Now you can't do it. Yeah, I can do it. And they'll go over there, right? And then they'll approach the victim of their game. The unsuspecting. You think they coming to love that person? Yeah, it's just a game. That's what he mean. They love this. This is a game. He said they spots they are, blemishes, sporting. See, sport themselves with their own deceiving while they feast with you. It's a sport. You see that? These are beasts. Having eyes full of adultery and cannot cease from sin because they beasts. Beguiling unstable souls, a heart that have exercised with covetous practice, and Yah has called them what? Cursed what? Cursed children. That was what he meant. Watch this here. When he says, go to Hebrew 10:4. Because what is it not possible? Hebrew 10:4. What does he say?
That the blood of bulls and that the goats should be taken. Should take away sin.
You see, they said it is not possible that the blood of bulls and goats shall take away sin. See, that's what he's telling you. Because if you act like a beast, it is impossible for that nature to what? Take away what? Sin. That's what he's telling you. It's impossible to have an animal nature and think that you're going to be saved. All animal nature is going to do what here? Die where? Here. That's why I say call it Animal Planet. It is, ain't it? Mm-hmm. He says it. Let's start at 10:1 since we're here. He said, for the law having a shadow of good things to come, but not the very image of the things. Remember, because everybody's always symbolic with people, right? They love the symbolicness, but they never do it, do they? Physically. That's how he going to hit you with it right here. The people who love symbolic stuff going to get tore up right here. He said, for the law having a shadow of good things to come, meaning just a figure, and not, because it's not the very what? Image of the thing. See, it's not the very thing. It's just a figure, a copy, a model of it. And that can never, with those sacrifices, keep bringing these models to the altar. Keep bringing this before y'all. He said, these things which they offer year by year, continually, make the comers thereunto what? Perfect. See, if you keep bringing these things, it's not going to make you what? Perfect. That's what he's telling you. Sacrifices, you want to bring bulls and goats and stuff like that to atone for your sins. But he said, that's just a beast nature. What are you sacrificing to me, beast natures? I can care less about a beast. Beasts are going to die here. For then would they have not ceased to be offered if the stuff worked? He said, if it worked, then why you got to redo it again next year? He said, year by year. If that stuff actually wiped away sin, you would no longer what? Sin. Because that the worshiper once purged the first time should have had no more conscience of what? Sin. Meaning your sin should have been. That's why it takes the same way with being baptized. Some people, he said, people think being baptized at the water is magical, that they can be baptized and come out the water and they ain't going to sin no more. People think it's a magical thing, but it's not. Same thing. That's what he said. Just it's a symbolism. It's not the real what thing. Because it didn't. If it was the real thing, then when you came out the water, you would never sin no more. So it's telling you that was just another symbolic what? Gesture as well, wasn't it? But truly, he's gonna tell you truly, this is how you truly do it. He's gonna give it to you. He said, 3, but in those sacrifices, there is a remembrance again. See? Made of sin every what? Because people go back into their what?
Same way.
Go back into their same ways. The next day, someone that's later that night. For it is impossible, see, that the blood of bulls and goats should take away sin. It's impossible that animals can take away sin for any man, a woman. Can you really sacrifice this pig for your life? Then y'all gonna say, okay, I'm exchange this pig for your life. A pig? You're gonna kill a pig, and that's gonna be that's the equivalent of your life. If I kill this pig for my sins, then now I'm good with y'all. Or if I give y'all $100, I'm good with y'all. That's another thing that is man-made. Can you present that to y'all for your soul? So the only thing you could present for your soul is who? You. Exactly. You have to present yourself. Wherefore, when he come into the world, he said, sacrifices and offerings thou wouldest not. But a body has thou what? Prepared who? Me. In burnt offerings and sacrifices for sin, you have no pleasure. So now he can tell you what the pleasure. Then said, I lo, I come. And the volume of the book is written of who? The prophecy is written of who? Me, to do thy will. Oh yeah. You see? That's what he's telling you. Only thing gonna account for your sins if you do y'all's what? In prophecy. That's what he's saying. I come to do your what? Will. I have to just do what I am what? Told. That's it. I just gonna have to do what I'm told. So that means man don't live by what? but by every what? Word that Yah says. He said, I just have to do what I'm what? Told. I have to seek what I'm to be told and then do when I am what? Told. That's it. That's what I'm going to have to do to get myself right with Yah. It's not about, and I have to come out of that beast, what? Nature. Of thinking I can offer a beast to Yah. Yah don't even like pigs like that. So you definitely can't offer these things to Yah when Yah don't even like these things. Yah don't like money. So that's what he's telling you. Why are you offering Yah things that he don't even like? They can care less about money. But they have an investment where? In you. So that's who they care about. And all these other things were given because they care about you. So now the pig, now the bull was given for you to have something to eat because Yah what? Care about you. That you get some food in your belly. See, the tree ain't made for you to sacrifice it back to Yah. No, the tree is given to you to be able to build you some furniture with the tree. See, Yah thought of everything to provide for you because Yah what? Cares what? For you. So you don't turn around and make a cross out of the wood and try to point it at Yah and say, here, take this. Yah said,
It's already mine.
It's already mine. That would go to Isaiah 66. What does it say? Thus says Yah, heaven is my throne and earth is my footstool. Where is the house that you're going to see? That's that wood and stuff that you want. Where is the house that you're going to build unto me? And where is the place of my rest? For all those things, like you said, they already have. What he said, for all those things, my hand has already what? Made. Those things are already mine. And all those things have been, says Yah. But to this man, see, because Yah's not looking for no wood. Y'all ain't looking for no beast to present themselves to Yah. What is Yah looking for to present themselves? You. You. Humbly, prodigal son has returned. Repented, saying I'll no longer serve the rest of that junk. I'm not serving who? You. That's what Yah looks for. He says, for them, to this man will I look, even to him that is poor and of a contrite spirit, a repentant spirit, and trembleth at what? My word. Will finally do what I would tell them to do. That's what the trembling at his word mean. Meaning I feel what you tell me to do, I need to do it. I'm gonna make sure I would. I do. And I fear if I don't what? Do it. That's what my fear is. Your fear should be if you don't do it. Not fear. Get the fear out of yourself of them and learn what's gonna be the fear if you don't do what Yah tell you to what? Watch this here. Go to 1 Corinthians 9:16. Mm-hmm. 1 Corinthians 9:16. It's going to be 16 through 18. Listen. He said, for though I preach the gospel, this is Paul. For though I preach the gospel, I have nothing to glory of. See, I ain't got nothing. Yeah. For necessity is laid what? Upon me, meaning this is given now. Yeah, woe is unto me if I preach not the word. See that what it mean? Woe unto me. So your fear shouldn't be others. It should be fear. What if you don't do what you were told? That's what he's saying. Woe is unto me if I preach not the gospel. If I don't do what Yah has already committed unto me to what? To do. That's where my fear should lie. For if I do this thing willingly, I have a reward. But if it against my will, then I have to understand that a dispensation of the gospel is what now? Committed unto me. Meaning this has been given, it's committed to me. I'm married what? To this. Till death what? Do me part. I have to do this. And woe unto me if I do not do what is what? Told of me to do. That is your fear. That is not what people say. You got to shake that. I'm not fearing man, little, big, small, tall. I'm not fearing beasts, none of that. But woe unto me, fear is placed upon me because I know what happened if I turn against Yah's will. It's going to be terrible. So woe unto me if I turn. If I ever, like Judas, if I ever deny the truth. If I ever run from it and backslide or go backwards as a son of perdition. Woe unto me. If I take the words of Yah, understand what he said is impossible, right? It is impossible. Go to Hebrew. Hebrews 6. Start at 4. That's why it says here, for it is impossible for those who were once enlightened and have tasted of the heavenly gift. The heavenly gift is the word of what?
Yeah.
Word of Yah. And were made a partakers now of the Spirit that confirmed that Yah has just gave you words and the Spirit will confirm it, meaning back you up in power to fulfill it, what was spoken to you. Mm-hmm. And have tasted the good word of what? Yeah, that's what he said. That's the heavenly gift. And the powers, talking about the Spirit of the world to come. That's what he said. Verse 4, he confirms in verse 5 what those two things were. The heavenly gift was 5 was what? The good word of Yah. That was the heavenly gift in 4, right? And made partakers of the Holy Spirit. And 5 says, and the powers of the world to what? To come. So that's the Spirit. The word and what? Spirit. If they shall fall away, to renew them again unto repentance. See, if they fall away from these commands and word, after you've been told what you needed to do for salvation, and you think that there's another way outside of the way that he has given, he's telling you, it is impossible if you shall fall away to renew them again unto what? Repentance. I mean, there's no more what for you? No more repentance. So that means all the doors going forward to you are now what? Closed. So whatever sickness is at that door waiting you, it's going to fall upon you. You won't be able to shake it. Devil, demon that's going to jump on you, you won't be able to shake it because the door is closed to get past that level. You won't make it through. That's what I mean. The lights go out, bye-bye. And that devil has his what on you? His way. This is how people get cursed all the time. This is how demons and devils fall upon people all the time. And they end up in those state of minds and nothing gets them out of it. But Yah tells you he will only do this for you how many times? Every time you do what is righteous in prayer, Yah open those doors for you to get those devils and demons that reside on that level off of you. From devils, demons, sicknesses, all that's poison and all those things, Yah get you through that doorway. You move on to the next level, remember? And then Yah closes that door. But everyone else who tries to go to that door that have not done these righteousness and prayer, he said, fasting and what? If they haven't done this, they won't get through that door. For them, those sicknesses, they plague them with it. With them, those are hurtful things plague them. They can't shake it. They won't get out. They won't overcome it. Because the demons will reside greater than them. because they won't do the very things that will get them off of them. So of course, these people, they're gonna go run to all these medical things, right? They're gonna go run everywhere trying to get everything but Yah to try to get deliverance, right? But will it work? Same way the blind man say, he sat at there every day begging them to heal him. Will they do it? No, they're not gonna heal you. You're just gonna be stuck with that thing. But it's only Yah create the evil and allow you to escape the what? Right? That's what he's telling you. He is the doorway. That's why you usually say, I am the way. I am the door. You won't get through, but through what? Me. You're going to be plagued with that sickness. You're going to be plagued with that demon, that whatever haunting you, you stuck with it. Till what? Till it destroys you. Seeing that they try to crucify to themselves the Son of Yah afresh and put him to an open shame. So he already telling you, I cannot redo it once it's done. Right? If I get you through that door, that entrance will be made for you to get through. But if you don't, you won't get through. Right? Go back to 2 Peter 2. For he says it. When we talk about that madness, the madness of them is just they just want to consume. Right? That's all they want to do. The beast just wants to consume. Right? Same thing. Let's read a little bit more. See, these go down to 19. He says, because while they promised them liberty, they themselves are servants of what? Corruption. For of whom a man is overcome, of the same is he brought into bondage. For if after they have escaped the pollution of the world through the knowledge, of his word, and they are entangled therein again and overcome, the latter end is worse than them than what? The beginning. See, it had better for them not to have known the way of righteousness. See, telling you that is the way, righteousness. Then after they have known it, to turn from the holy command delivered unto them. But it has happened unto them according to the true proverb. A dog is turned to his own vomit again, the soul that is washed to her wallowing in the mire. So when it says a dog has returned back to his own vomit, the symbolism of that, because the dog will represent the beast.
Its old ways.
It will turn back not only to his old ways, it did its nature. It went back to its nature. What was its nature to do with the vomit?
To eat.
To consume it. Mm-hmm. See, that's what it always knows to do. So even when it threw it up saying it wasn't supposed to go back to that way, it was supposed to have been done with him. He was never supposed to become a consumer like that no more. Go back to his beastly ways. The first thing he did, throwed it up, but like he said, any beast, that dog would go sniff it and then sniff it right back and turn right back and find his way right back to it. And then go back and home. Because that's what a consumer what? Does. Swallows, it consumes. So instead of rebuking it from eating up Yah's people, it's going to turn right back around and what? Still go back and consume Yah's what? People. After it was told about it. That's the beast. He doesn't know nothing else but consume, consume, consume. That's why they even try to give us the names. You got sellers and you have what? Consumers. Calling us consumers. So all they want to do is eat. Right? So watch this here. Because all they want to do is eat, They have their nature. Yeah, I said because he said he gonna get you with your own what? Lust, didn't he say that? Your lust is the lust to eat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't he say he gonna get you by that? Okay, watch this here. Go to Revelations 18. No, we're not gonna go to Revelations, even though it's there too. Um, but I want one more to give you exactly more of it in deep. Okay, here we are. Go to Zephaniah, Zephaniah 3 and 8. It says, therefore wait ye upon me, says Yah, until the day that I rise up to the prey. Ah,
You are evil.
yes. You notice how that changed it? Because now he's now calling them the prey, who used to prey upon you. He says, for my determination, meaning what determination mean? Short for what?
Determined.
Determined, purposed, will. This is what he's going to do. Heavenly parents have already determined it, judged it, said this is what it shall be.
Mm-hmm.
And I already set it in my heart to do it. That's what determined means.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I have determined is to gather the nations that I may assemble the kings and to pour upon them my indignation, even all of my fierce anger. For all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. So he's telling you, or telling them, see, I know y'all got a lust in y'all. So I have determined to use your lust against you. So what I'm going to do is gather the nations. How can I gather people who love to consume? I have to first give them something to what? Consume. Watch this here. Now to go to Zechariah 14. Listen here. He said, behold, the days of the Lord cometh, and the spoil shall be divided in the midst of thee. For I will gather all nations against what? To what? See, this I gotta make them all, because I know they love to lust. But it's one thing that he gives for the lust. The elect. See, I know y'all, look, that's what a dog loves, to devour who? The dignitaries, right? You love the ones that are trying to live something, to swallow them up. Because that's become to you as what? Madness. Didn't I say that? It's madness to want to devour what? The elect. To curse the what? Elect. He tell it like he told Balaam. That's madness. But madness you like, don't you? You love it. That's your lust. To devour all, because the devil wants to devour what? All the what? The elect. That's what he said. He said if it were possible, the devil would what? deceive the what? Elect. So that's the devil's lust. The beast's lust is to be able to devour the elect. So what Yah is going to do for them, per se, is just gather all the elect. That's what you think the gathering for. Right, so he's going to gather all the elect and make them nice and little neat. Put them right there nice and neat of any little snack. So I know y'all like snacks. So I'm going to put them right there. Knowing that your lust going to drive you to it. All I got to do is put it right there and leave the light on. And everything in the darkness is going to come out in the dark. And they going to get to look. There they all go right there. Y'all done put them in a nice little package for us. They all in one place at the same exact time. And guess what y'all gonna do? Watch this here. He said, that was my purpose. I determined to draw them out, to gather all of them, so who could consume them? Yeah. He said, I will gather all the nations against Jerusalem, and the city shall be taken, and the houses rifled, and the women's ravished, and half of the city shall go forth into captivity, and the rest of my people shall not be cut off from the city. Then shall the Lord go forth and fight against those nations, as when he fought in the day of battle. Or, better yet, go to Joel 3. He says, for behold, in that days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivities of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also, see, he said, I will gather my people, then I will also, through their gathering, what? Gather the rest of the what? The nations, because they're going to be dumb enough. Because they can't, they can't resist. Because they say, can a dog resist going back to his vomit? It's just I gotta consume them. Meaning they must be our slaves. That's what they mean. They ain't, Yah's gonna free you from them. Gather all of the elect. But the rest of the nations just can't get it in their heart not to just let it go. But it's always the plan of Yah to bring them. See, that's what the valley of Jehoshaphat means. I'm gonna gather all of them. Because they're gonna be dumb enough to come. They can't get out of it. Not when they see a nigga, they just cannot get over the fact that that's a nigga. And especially, do you ever seen Django? One thing they cannot unsee is a free nigga. And they look at that like, whoa, when and how we doing that? They can't, that part they can't fathom it being so. Bad as they try to say, we about free this and free that, but that is the one free that they ain't about. But Yah is going to do it anyway. He's going to free his people, and when he does, the other nations and heathens of people, because they were nothing but beasts, they're going to look and be like, dang, that's not fair, that's not right, we got to do something. And then that lust going to kick back in. Man, it was good when we used to have them as slaves. It was good when we was around them. It was good for the gettings. And they're going to desire what? They're going to talk each other into what? Man, we got to go get... Man, you know what? I know what we said we was going to do. I know what we said we was going to do. But no. We need to go and get these people back. Ain't that the same thing that happened to Pharaoh, right? After he let the people go, he changed his what? His mind. And say, nah, what are we doing? We tripping. We really tripping. That's why he met them at the Red Sea, right? Because he had already let them what? Go. But then he changed his what? Saying, nah, we tripping. Egypt, we need them people back. So let's go get them. Let's go back. And they got on all his king horses and chariots and rode after them, didn't it? To try to bring them what? Back. The same way Lamech had did Jacob. Remember, Jacob, after he served for 14 years, he tried to leave. And then Lamech gathered on his horse and go try to bring him back. But then he was met by Yah and say, let the boy be. And if you try to do harm him or his family to try to bring them back unto you, because he really was never going to let him go even after the 14 years. He rode on him to go get him again. But that's when Yah intervened and said, nah, let him what? Let him go. Let him go. The same way he always been saying, let my people what? Go. But can they do it truly? They can't. They don't, and that's gonna be their lust. And that's what's gonna get them what? Caught up. Listen, he said, I will gather all the nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and I will plead with them there for my what? People, and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered amongst the nations and part of my land. Well, he said he's gonna bring them now. So these fools, look, okay. Watch this here. Ezekiel 35. No, it's Ezekiel 38. 35 represents Esau. What's going to happen to Esau? Watch this here. Go to 38 in a minute. Mm-hmm. Watch this here. He says 8. Ezekiel 38 and 8. He says, and after many days thou shalt be visited. Talking about, in the latter years thou shalt come. Talking about the rest of the nations. This is after you free. After many days thou shalt be visited. In the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword. What land are you talking about? Israel. His people. And is gathered out of many people. See, they have already gathered. You're going to come against the mountains of Israel, see? Which have been always waste. But now, when they come, it's going to be brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. Going to be dwelling where? In Israel. Safe. 9. And thou shalt ascend and come like a storm, because all the people say, nah, nigga, we need, like a blanket. Storm is a blanket. Trying to do what? Thou shalt be like a cloud to what? Cover the what? Like a blanket. Thou and all thy bands and military and many people with thee. Trying to bring them back into what? Slavery and captivity. And thus says Yah, it shall come to pass that at the same time that y'all all approach, shall things come into Yah's mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of the unwalled villages. They're going to be telling to each other. I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. Meaning we ain't going to have no gate around us. We ain't going to what? We're not going to need it. Because who's watching over us?
Yeah.
Exactly. And I will go to them that are at rest. See, they out of it. That dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls and having neither bars nor gates. Right? And we gonna go, 12 says, to take a spoil and to take a prey. And to turn thy hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited. So their better places are now looking good. And upon the people that are gathered out of the nations, which have gotten cattle, goods that dwell in the midst of the land. He says, look, Sheba and Dedan and the merchants of Tarshish, which all the young lions there shall say unto thee, art thou? That's what they're going to tell them. People around them be like, oh, what y'all? When they see them gathering, guess the nation's going to say, what y'all trying to do? What y'all finna do? I know y'all ain't finna do what we think y'all finna try to do. Right? Are you there to take a spoil? Like, you think you finna... Has thou gathered thy company? See, have you gathered all your armies to come take a prey? See, people gonna tell them as they approaching, like, y'all really finna try to do this again? After y'all already, took them away from y'all really finna try to re-put them back into what? Slavery. To carry away silver and gold, to take away cattle and goods, to take a great spoil? This is what you nice to do. Therefore, son of man, prophesy and say unto God the beast that says unto Lord Yah, in that day when my people of Israel will dwell safely, shall thou not know it? Well, I mean, he said, when I say that, he says that when they shall dwell, what? Safely. Shall you not know that what the word safely means? It's a reason why they ain't got bars. It's a reason why they ain't got walls and gates. He's telling you, it's a reason why, because they dwell in what? Safely. Safely means they don't need it, but you about to find out why they didn't need the gates and bars. Because they're going to have their trust fully in who? Yeah. No need for the bars and gates, because we're not putting our trust in those bars and gates anyway. We just got it. But he's telling them, y'all sure? Y'all finna do what y'all think y'all finna to do. And you think they're not dwelling in safety? And do you not understand what safely means? 15, and thou shalt come from thy place out of the north parts, thou and many people with thee, all of them riding upon horses, tanks, and, they ain't got horses in them days, but, so you're talking about tanks and stuff. A great company and a mighty army. And thou shalt come up against my people of Israel as a cloud to cover the land. And it shall be in the latter days that I will bring thee against my land, that the heathen may know me this day, when I shall be sanctified in them, O God, before their eyes. And thus says Yah, art thou he whom I have spoken in old times? So he's going to hit him with a prophecy. He said, didn't I tell you? So we're reading the prophecy now. Of when that day happened, we're reading this prophecy what? Yeah. Now, see, this is the prophecy you're going to bring to mind. Oh, he said they was going to try it. But here we go. He said, haven't I spoken this in old times by my servants, the prophets of Israel, which prophesied in those days many years that I would bring you against them. Because of they what? They lust. I was going to do this. Make sure because you weren't going to let it go. I was going to make sure y'all dummies was going to gather and come against them like a hungry beast. And it shall come to pass in 18, at the same time, when God shall come against the land of Israel, says the Lord Yah, that my fury shall come up in my face. And for in my jealousy and in the fire of my wrath have I spoken. Surely in that day there shall be great shaking in the land of Israel. So it's telling you at that point what's going to happen when they try to approach? A great shaking in the land of Israel. So what is that? Earthquake. It's an earthquake. So that the fishes of the sea and the fowls of the heaven and the beasts of the field and all the creeping things that are creep upon the earth and all the men that are upon the face of the earth shall shake at my presence. Talking about that's that earthquake. And the mountains shall be thrown down, and the steep places shall fall, and every way shall fall to the ground. And I will call for a sword against him throughout all my mountains, says Yah. Every man's sword shall be against his what? His brother. Because they're going to start killing they what? Selves. Because they're like, man, why you told me to come out? I told you don't tell me to come. You done tricked me and got me out here. You see what I'm talking about? That's when, And I will plead against him with pestilence and with blood. And I will rain upon him and upon his bands and upon many people that are with him, an overflowing rain and a great what? Hailstorm. Hailstones, fire, and brimstone. So that's going to hit them like the same way as what? Sodom and what? And thus will I magnify myself and sanctify myself, and I will be known in the eyes of many nations that day. And they all shall know that I am Yah. Because remember, he said the first time he destroyed them through water, right? See, the waters also was referring to Egypt when he flooded all of them out by water, trying to kill what? Israel, that time. But he said this time it's going to come by what? Fire. See, he said when he comes this time, he's going to hit them all with fire. Because they're going to try the same thing again. But at this time, it was going to be for their destruction. All right. And 39 and 40 talks about it too, the after effect. That he says everything that, because they're going to be burnt to a crisp, all they love, he tells us that we're going to have to bury all the dead bodies. He tells us that we're going to have to gather all their weapons and we're going to melt them back down to the proper things that they're useful for. Like all the silver going to be melted down back to silver. Everything going to be purified once again. All their weapons and stuff that they brought, because trust me, you're never going to need them ever again. So all that stuff that they brought to that fight, Yah said you would use it for the materials. And you will, remelt it back down. You know what I'm talking about? And use it for the proper uses that it was actually supposed to be used for. And Yah was going to sanctify it. Right? Yah was going to have to bury them. This is how you know, because go to 39, the next scripture. Therefore, O son of man, prophesy against Og and say that, says to Yah, behold, I am against thee, Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and leave about a sixth part of thee, and I will cause thee to come up from the north parts and bring thee upon the mountains of Israel, and I will smite the bow out of your left hand and cause the arrows to fall out of your right hand. Thou shalt fall upon the mountains of Israel that day, thou and all your bands and all the people that is with thee, and I will give thee unto the ravenous birds of every sort, and to the beasts of the field to be devoured. Remember, he's talking about this is the marriage supper of the what? Exactly. Remember, they're going to let the birds come eat. They're going to eat all those kings, so they're going to be dead. And they shall fall upon the open field, for I have spoken, it says Yah. And I will send a fire, see, that's the fire on Magog, and among all them that dwell carelessly in the islands, and they shall know that I am the Lord that day. So I will make my holy name known in the midst of my people Israel, and I will not let them pollute my holy name anymore. And the heathen shall know that I am the Lord, the Holy One in Israel. Because it is come and it is done, says Yah. This is the day whereof I have what? Spoken. Right? And he says, in read 9, talking about, and they dwell in the cities of Israel shall go forth and set on fire and burn the weapons, see? Both the shield and the buckler, the bows and the arrows, everything that them people brought out there. And they shall burn them with fire 7 what? 7 years, because they have to, clean all that stuff up, so that they shall take no wood out of the field, neither cut down any of the forest, because now for 7 years, all we using and living off of is the supplies of what the armies brought out. But they're going to be destroyed. So all their supplies, we said we was going to take. And in those 7 years, we are not allowed to chop down not one tree. So you can let the land what? Restore itself. Exactly. Don't chop down nothing, because that's because it's gonna be abundance of stuff. And it says, yeah, so you're seeing it right, what I'm seeing, right? And he said, for they shall burn the weapons with fire, and they shall spoil those that spoiled them, and rob those that robbed them, says Yah. Right? And he said, it shall come to pass in the day that I will give unto Gog a place thereof of graves in Israel. That's what he means. And we have to go out and go bury them. 7 months shall the house of Israel, 12 says, 7 months shall the house of Israel be burying of them, and they shall make cleanse the land. Yeah, all the people of the land shall bury them, and it shall be them to a renown the day that I shall be glorified. Right? And then we will employ people in verse 14 to help us bury these what? People that have been destroyed by Yah, so that they can put away the shame of Israel. And they shall cleanse the land by doing this, right? And it's going to be bad. I don't want to read any more into it, because it's right there for you to see what everything we're going to have to do. That's going to be the after effect. And all of that is going into the purifying of the land again, making everything clean again. And so he said, new heaven, what? New earth. So all the weapons that they've been creating, he's going to actually turn those things into a big old melting pot, and he's going to repurify those things again, once again, back to his pureness again. That we can kind of start over with life and do it the right way, right? And Israel is going to be the capital city of the world, not just of Israel, but it's going to be the capital city, what? Of the world. And everyone's going to have to flow into it. Everyone. And he even says that if they don't flow into it, that their lands won't grow. And if people don't flow and give honor, that they're going to suffer hard things. And like I told you, with Yah, it's not going to be man-made. So they can talk what they want to talk and say, well, we're not going to do this and we're not going to bow to y'all, but it's not going to be man-made what's going to happen to them. Meaning Yah's going to hinder everything they have to the point where they ain't got no choice. So you got them who now they man-made try to force you into a situation. But that's the thing about Yah. Yah don't need your help to get them. He just needs you to what? Pray and what? Fast. And Yah will do the rest. Mm-hmm. You don't have to do anything on their behalf to get them to follow. That's the whole point. You never had to. That's why you didn't need the guns, the swords, the knives, and stuff like that. Prayer. So the weapons of our warfare, see, are different. You know what I'm talking about? They're going to do a lot of man-made stuff to you to try to seem like you curse through what they're doing to you. That's not a cursing. A curse is if Yah is what? Doing it to you. That's the curse. Always remember that. Unfortunate events is something that somebody's trying to man-made do to you. That's a difference. That's not curse. That's just a person in an unfortunate situation dealing with a bunch of idiots that don't understand what their fate is for even playing the game. That's what that is. Dealing with a bunch of idiots. They're going to see what the real fate is. But for you who do know, you just continue on in the truth that you have and keep your nature and your dignity. But you don't have to lose it for these folks, and you don't have to give in to these folks. Go to Jude 1. It's going to be the last of it. Sure. Jude. And this will be it. All right. So remember to keep it, right? Keep what you know. Don't let it get defiled out here, right? And always understand and go down to verse 13. He says, raging waves of the seas, foaming out their own shame, wandering stars, to whom is reserved the blackness of darkness, what? Forever. And Enoch, also the seventh from Adam, prophesied of these things. To let you know, see, he's the seventh son. So remember to about the seventh? Told you. Mm-hmm. Saying, behold, the Lord cometh with 10,000 of his saints. What you think they come to do? To execute what? Judgment upon all, and to convince all that are ungodly among them that are of all the ungodly deeds which they have ungodly committed, and of all the hard speeches which ungodly sinners have spoken against them. You see that? So Yah definitely will raise up an army, and it will put them people in their place. All of this is already designed by Yah. So you don't have to worry, because these think that these who run like this, who run with the beast mentality and nature of the beast, always thinking about consuming, they're going to run across something that they think they can consume, but Yah is going to, in return, use it to what? Consume them. And so when these armies get to marching on them, trust me, they will be consumed. But it's necessary to bait them out. It's necessary. So that's why I said don't fear these things that are coming. When you see things happening in the economy, you see things going on around the world, it's not for you to feel like it's coming upon you. It's not. But it is to set up everything that Yah has spoken. What he said, I had predetermined, right? He's already have a determination that my whole goal was to gather what? The heathen and what? into one place and what? Consume them. Because I want to do them the very way they have always been what? Done to my people. That was always the goal. So all of this is done so that they can be brought into that place. You know what I mean? So all of this is done to gather all the nations through saviors that they will have for things coming up and that'll force them to think that they're going to consume Israel. Even to let Israel go. And they're going to desire to still want to consume like that dog, return back to its vomit. See, it's going to let you go. And then it's going to what? Turn back and what? Yeah, that's what he means. So he tells us not to be of that sort. Once you have, we all would like that. That's why I told you, in our nature, we have the nature to be a beast. It's true. But Yah told us to what? Repent. Be born again. So we are not to go back to those same nature of natural movements of the beast. But we ought to be a man and woman, right? Having that dignity about ourselves, that we don't do those lustful activities. We don't look to make people serve us. We don't look to make people our slaves. That's what lust means. Right? We're not of those such, but those that were fasting and what? Praying. That you do, always remembering to do what? What does fasting mean? So you can always remember it. Fasting is to what? Always remember to do what? Righteousness. Having mercy. Having grace. Right? And restoring Israel to who? To Yah. And praying when you fall what? Into anything. Okay? Because remember, if you're doing that, it's not, the thing has no power to continue to what? Hold you, right? It has to let you what? Go. Well, he said, anybody that's doing the will of Yah, right? Things have to what? Let it what? Let it go. It can't hold you in righteousness. It has nothing on you, even though it might try to get on you at times, but there's no moments it's just time for you to what? To pray. But also go back and make sure that you're doing everything you need to be doing. Because sometimes it may be something you overlooked, right? And you gotta, the devil plaguing you for a reason. So go back and find out what it is and then do it. If it could be something simple as forgiving somebody. It could be something simple as going back, helping this person out that because you already know what you're supposed to do on a daily. So it's always making sure you are doing it. And if you might have overlooked something, that's probably why that entity bothering you. And you need to get that off of you, not going back and doing it. That's why he said, I create the good and the what? Yeah. Evil. So if something's bothering you, it might be Yah's making that thing bother you to get you to come to the right mindset. Not that you're going to perish, but then Yah needs you to understand that you need to get your relationship back right with me. And I can remove the thing like it's nothing. Mm-hmm. That's why prayer is easy for people that are in righteousness. That's why Yahushua said it about prayer. Let's go back to what he says. I think that'll be the last, because I got to say what he said about it then. Mm-hmm. Okay, go to John 14. Go down to verse 12. He says, so verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth on me, the works that I do shall he do also. And the greater works that I do shall he do, because I go unto my what? Father. And whatsoever you shall ask in my name, that will I what? Do. That the Father may be glorified in the Son. You shall ask anything in my name, and I will what? Do. If you love me, keep my what? Amen. And I will pray the Father, and shall give you another comforter, that he may abide with you forever. Even the Spirit of what? Truth. Whom the world cannot receive, because it seeth him not, neither knoweth him. But you know him, for he dwell with you and shall be in you. I will not leave you comfortless. I will come to you. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
So it's telling you right there. The most important thing you can have going forward is for the very reasons why you have to pray. So you have to pray for that knowledge, that wisdom, that understanding. For your daily bread. That's why it's daily. Because this is the thing. He said, now the world, these people cannot receive it. What is they cannot receive? That door, that doorway. But if you pray, you will receive that what? That door to get you through that day. That's the daily bread. It's that daily bread is a package of wisdom, understanding, and knowledge, grace, and what? Mercy to get you through. So you have to pray for these things or you won't get them. Some things you have to pray for. And I know we at the point where we think that, we just do good, it's going to come. But no, there's times when you just have to physically pray. And that's by the only means that you're going to get through that. So prayer is created that we use it. It was created that we use it and not be those who don't use it. That's the difference between us and them. We have a weapon that we can use when in our time of need that they don't have. When it's our time of need, we know we can pray. And not only will we pray, but we know the confidence of that it will be what? The door will be what? When we knocking at it, it's going to be open. We like, that's a prayer. We knocking at the door like, please open the door unto us. He said, if you knock, it shall be what? That's prayer. It shall come on in. That we say, I am the door. Go to John 10, since y'all right there. He says, verily, verily, I say unto you, he that enter in not by the door into the sheepfold, but climbeth up some other way, the same is a thief and a what?
Right.
So that's the same thing as a consumer. But he that enter in by the door is the shepherd of the what?
Sheep.
To him, the porter opened. Who the porter opened it to? The shepherd of the what?
Sheep.
And the sheep hear his voice. And he called up his own sheep by name and leadeth them out. And he will put forth his own sheep. He goeth before them, and sheep follow him, for they know his voice. But the voice of a stranger they will not follow, but will flee from him, for they know not the voice of a stranger. Go down to 7. So verily, verily, I say unto you, what he says, I am the what? The door of the sheep. All that ever came before me are thieves and what? But the sheep did not hear them. I am the door, by if any man enter in, he shall be what?
Saved.
See, I'm the doorway to salvation, and shall go in and out and find what? Pasture. So he's telling you, ain't gonna, if you don't go in through his door of deliverance, you ain't gonna be saved. And he already told you what you gotta do to get through this door. You're gonna have to what? Fast and
pray.
Exactly, because that means you have to knock at the door. Praying is knocking at the what? The door. But if you don't pray, that's you ain't what to the door. Because you haven't did what?
You haven't prayed.
Praying is what? I just said praying is doing what to the door? It's knocking.
Opening the door.
So if you don't, the door ain't gonna open if you don't what?
Pray.
Right, exactly. So you have to knock. The door does not open if you do not knock. That's why he said people try to go in through other means, other ways. He said, every all that came before me, thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not hear. I am the door, but if any man hear me, by me, if any man enter in, he shall be saved from that circumstance and situation. Come on in. The door will open to you. Come on in from all that stuff going on around you. It could be a whole wildfire. Come on in. You can come in, close the door on the rest of them. They got to stay in the wildfire. That's what he's saying. But the only way to get through that door is you have to what? Pray. That's what?
Knock.
That's knocking. So prayer is what? Understand that. Prayer is what? He always say, ask and you shall receive. Seek and you shall find. Knock and the door will be to you. You have to pray. Stop acting like you don't have to. See, that's our problem. I ain't got to pray. I just go figure out what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go out here and figure it out. Go out here and figure it out. Go out there and figure it out. Going out there is figure it out. Tell Kevin to pray. So we do those things. We just go all around the very thing that we need to do to get a breakthrough, to get through that door, because it's the ice build up. And it's like, okay, they ain't budging, they ain't budging. Somebody got to budge. But if you don't what?
Just pray.
Right. Then who hears you? Because you're looking at everything that we said, the people of Sodom and Gomorrah, they was all like this in the dark. And nobody just went to the what? To the door. But y'all made sure they couldn't get to the what? Door. Of course. Because it wasn't for them. But Lot got through the door. Mm-hmm. He said an angel pulled Lot in the door and closed it on them. And then that's when they got hit with the darkness. But Lot, the angel pulled Lot in the door. So in those moments, you have to learn how to pray. Because that means it's a very situation that all the other stuff you're doing ain't going to fix it. You need to what? Fast and pray. Mm-hmm. Now you understand these doorways and how you get through them. Right? All right? You got it?
Yes.
He says, I am the door. By me, if any man enter in, he shall be saved. Shall be saved. If anyone enter in through my door. That's the only door. Prayer and fasting. And what is fasting? So for those that don't understand what fasting is.
Righteousness.
Righteousness? Mm-hmm. What else? Having mercy. And restoring Yah's people to Yah. So you have to have these three things. You have to have love, mercy, right? And righteousness for these people. You have to do that for these people. Because they're Yah's what? People. And if you give mercy, then when you knock at that door, what? You shall find what? Mercy. Because that's what you're going to be begging for. Lord, please let me in. Lord, Lord. Don't let me die out here with these, right? And then Yah will do what? Yah will have mercy and open that door. That's what he mean. They know my voice. My voice has what in it? Mercy. If you want to get in through that door of mercy, you best to be given what? Mercy. So that's what you fasting and praying on. Go ahead.
So when I pray, I be just having a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the right way to pray?
Yes, it is. See, these prayers talking about also is in a moment when you need a prayer because you're going through something, right? And you need to get through that, right? You need a breakthrough. These breakthrough moments come through prayer and what? Fasting. Watch this. I'm going to show you why. Go to Matthew 17. Mm-hmm. Start at 14. Listen, Matthew 17 and 14. Okay. This will be the last question. I'm sorry, but I have to make sure that y'all fully understand, okay? It says, and when they were come to the multitude, there came to him a certain man kneeling down to him, saying, Lord, have mercy on my son, for he is a lunatic and sore vexed. For oftentimes he falleth into the fire and oftentimes into the water. And I brought him to water to drown himself. And I brought him to the disciples, and they could not cure him. See, I brought him to everybody. They couldn't do nothing for him. See, that's what he's talking about. These are the moments when you only what? Yah can what? Get you through. And so, 17, and when Yahushua answered and said, O faithless and perverse generation. Faithless and perverse. Could you imagine people hearing in their eyes like, Lord, like he's spitting in their eyes. Faithless and perverse. He said, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I suffer you? Bring him hither to me. And Yahushua rebuked the devil, and he departed out of him, and the child was cured from that very hour. So then his disciples came to Yahushua a part of that day and said, well, hold on. Why could not we cast him out? And Yahushua said, because of your unbelief. Right? Because you sought out through all different other measures, didn't you? See? For verily I say unto you, if you have faith as a grain of mustard seed, you shall say unto this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. Meaning, you're going to get these things, what? Off of you. See, these mountains are things that are plaguing you, aren't they? And you need deliverance, right? He said, but if you have faith as a mustard seed, when those things begin to come against you, you will be able to what? Pray and get those things what? Off of you. You will be able to say unto this mountain, remove. So that mountain can be a sickness. And in this boy situation, it can be a devil on him, right? And he needs that devil to get what? Off of him. That we say, I need him to be cast out. Like, this thing is plaguing me. Lord, help me. But y'all ain't going to help you if you don't what? Exactly. That's what he going to tell him. You see? Because probably, just saying, maybe when he tried to go to the disciples, he said they couldn't do nothing because maybe they didn't pray. Maybe they just try to lay hands on them. Maybe they just try to prescribe something to them. Maybe they said go here. Maybe they said go there. And he did all that, but then none of that stuff worked. So he had to go to Yahushua himself, be in the doorway. Like, okay, because now you see you ain't going to get it through no other means but what? Through Yah. Because you know it's Yah that's the one plaguing the boy, right? Mm-hmm. So he says, howbeit, 21, but howbeit, this kind goeth not out but by what? So he's telling you there are some stronger things and there are some stronger devils too. Even stronger. So some of them he's telling you some of these things, it ain't that easy. So these are the kind that you're going to try to find all of the remedies and that stuff don't work. These are the ones you need to go to who about? And you need to be fasting and what? Right. That's what he's saying, because they don't just come out like that. These are them sticky ones. They're like, I ain't going nowhere. I ain't going. You be like, Satan get behind me, and they still, I ain't going. I ain't going. So you be like, okay, what other scripture can I say? You know, for by my stripes I am healed. And I still ain't going. I ain't going. So now you got to ask yourself, okay, dot all your I's and what? Cross your T's. That's what you say, okay, because I know it's a spiritual battle. This demon don't want to leave. It don't want to get up off me. This sickness or this whatever it could be. So you have to go through all the list of things you know that Yah has told you to do. That's the fasting part. You got to say, okay, and continue praying. Like, Yah, I prayed about this yesterday. It's still here. Yah, I need deliverance. 3 days into it. Yah, I prayed about it 3 days ago. It's still here. You know what I'm saying? And then Yah will begin to reveal what it is you need to what? To do. And that's the fasting part. And then you must what? Do it. So if you owe somebody something at that point, you need to go and what? Repay them. Go repay them. If you got something going on, you got a debt somewhere, go what? Take care of that. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, whatever you know that you haven't done, that you know you need to do, and Yah's weighing in on your heart to do it, just go ahead and what? And then you'll pretty soon see that, dang, that was what it was. That was what, and then you, woof, is lifted. See, I would say it goes not out, but by fasting, praying. You got to pray, and then you need to figure out what it is that you haven't done that you need to check all your body. That's what the fasting. That's what the fasting about. Because remember, you have already made a dedicated decision to walk by Yah in righteousness. So in righteousness, it's required that you have to continue in righteousness 24/7. And sometimes you might leave a box unchecked in that. Because remember, we learning in righteousness, we got to restore Israel. We know that in all times. And then, but sometimes we forget that we got to have mercy too. Sometimes, and so then in those moments, go, oh, okay, that's what it is. I need to go have what? So, because that's exactly what I'm asking what? For my situation. Yeah, I need mercy. This devil tearing me up. And y'all telling you, well, have you been given mercy? to everyone like you're supposed to. Then you gotta rethink, right? Is it somebody I ain't did? Oh, and get on it, and get on it. And if you get on it sincerely, trust me, whatever you're dealing with, poof, y'all will open that door for you and get it off of you. See, that's how y'all works. But I always say fasting and prayer. But it's impossible to get it off of you through any other means. It won't work. I remember when I was getting plagued with a little bad cough, and I was trying to figure out everything I could do. I was taking all type of medication. I had it for like, and that's how I knew that's what it was, because I knew when it hit. I remember the time it hit. And I remember what had happened around that time that it first came upon me. And I thought back and I said, that's probably what it is. But let me get the confirmation first. And then I got the confirmation that that's what it is. And I had to cough for as long as I held the grudge, for exactly the same time frame. Exactly. And the day that I actually went and had mercy on that person is the same exact day that the cough went away. And that's what was holding it back. My healing. And that had nothing to do with a hospital. You see, it had nothing to do with medication, because I did all that in the third, but it was not being lifted. And I was wondering, like, man. But it was when I had to get real serious with y'all, like, okay, what am I doing wrong? You know what I'm saying? Because I know, you talk to me about stuff like this, and I'm trying to dot all my I's and cross all my T's. What's going on? And y'all was like, think. I said, okay, how long have I had it? What have I not done according to y'all? And it was like, well, it ain't much. So it's like, well, I do, lately I've been having the discrepancy with this one person. And and he said, so how long you had that thing? I was like, around the same time. And he said, okay, that's what you've been having the same time? So he said, well, go deal with that person. Because I had scheduled a whole appointment and everything. I was going to go to the doctor, get surgery, everything. At first, I thought. But then y'all was like, you don't have to do all that. Just go back and make things right. I said, okay. And he said, so I went back and just made things right. Didn't need to do none of that, as you can see. And that was all the medication I actually needed. That was it. So it's real. That's why I say I want to give y'all facts, testimonies, and things that I have went through to let you know how do you need to walk when you go forward in righteousness. Don't be afraid to forgive a person. Don't be afraid to give mercy, because these things you must what? Do if you expect to what? Exactly. Okay? So with that, that's going to conclude our family. So I hope y'all learned something. Hope y'all can grow from it. Okay?